in for what will probably be the final Todd's Coffee Roastery pregame show of the 2021 high school football season. I'm Stephen Blackson alongside McCann for one last ride here at Frank McNabb Field, home of the Catoosa Indians, our little home away from home in the natural state for tonight's matchup between the Cleveland Tigers and the Catoosa Indians with some playoff implications on the line. Let's take a look, Cannon, right away at this Cleveland Tiger team, see where they came from last week.
Yeah, Cleveland really a team that's playing for pride, and to be the spoiler at this point, they they were beaten pretty soundly by Ooliga last week, and now they're coming in. Not a whole lot of momentum, but they've still got a chance to play a little bit of spoiler, and we'll talk about that a little later.
Yeah, you see that score. They lost to the Ooliga Mustangs last week. Ooliga, a team at the moment in that fourth playoff position. We'll have some score updates and some other things like that from that game tonight as they take on the Bristow Pirates, as the Indians might need a little bit of help tonight from Ooliga in the form of a loss. We'll take a look just exactly why the Indians are going to need that help from their score last week out in competition and conference competition.
Yeah, Catoosa, since they beat Ooliga here, that was the last game we were here about 3 weeks ago. Been on a kind of a cold streak, lost to Mima a couple weeks ago, and obviously last week, 49-13 lost to Bristow. Bristow, one of those top three teams right now in the 4A3, so not a whole lot of shame in that. Just got to figure out where you made some mistakes, come out tonight a little more powerful, and hopefully get the win against Cleveland.
Yeah, and we can quickly take a look at Cleveland's schedule so far here in the 2021 season. Talking in the preseason, this team potentially might have been a fringe playoff team, a fourth seed, not to get in, but as you can see, there's not a lot of green on that schedule. Not
a lot of green. I mean, at this point, you're playing for pride, like I said earlier. They had a couple good results early in the season. They just couldn't figure it out in conference play. And, obviously one game separates both of them overall, but their conference record doesn't reflect as well as Catoosa's does.
Yeah, so we'll see, how that shakes out as we take a look at the Indians' schedule as well. We've been here for all of the victories that they've had, and all of them have been quite exciting, to say the least. I think the Ooliga-Catoosa one tops the list.
Ooliga-Catoosa has to be the top game, not only that we've done for Catoosa, but probably the season so far as excitement goes. But, yeah, like you said, we've been here for all of their wins in conference. They have really turned it around under first-year head coach Christian Hood. A lot of exciting moments, a lot of good things to build on next season, and this team is, if they can get some momentum going into the playoffs, they could be a dangerous team.
Yeah, and if you look at that game back on October 22nd, that one really stings if you're an Indians fan, as they lose to the Miami War Dogs 27-19. If they win that game, they're already locked up into the playoffs for next week, but tonight they have to win the ballgame.
Yeah, the problem there, too, is Miami is below them in the standings. I mean, that's a team that you were expected to beat, and, granted it was close, but that is a game where you beat Ooliga the week before, you beat Miami, you're really in the driver's seat to make the playoffs, and now they have to win tonight and hope for a little help on the other side of the bracket.
Well, we will talk a little bit more about the playoffs, the conference standings, and how that's going to impact tonight's action here in the last week of the regular season in Oklahoma. We'll step away here on the Todd's Coffee Roastery pregame show and have more on the other side.
Today's game is brought to you in part by Todd's Coffee Roastery, creating flavors for the most sophisticated palates to the everyday coffee drinker. Contact Todd's Coffee Roastery at toddscoffee.com and use promo code SSN25 to receive a 25% off discount on your order.
My name's Todd Harden, and I am Todd's Coffee. The reason I do this to begin with is because I really want people to experience coffee. What I'm doing and what other roasters are doing as well is, we're trying to figure out what the bean is trying to tell us. My goal and my customer really is, there's probably 2 out of 10 people that could taste the difference in one of my better roasts versus an average roast. If I can make those people happy, I'm making everybody happy. And so that's kind of my philosophy when it comes to roasting. You can just go to toddscoffee.com. You can get a whole bean, or I'll grind it for you. Either way, there'll be a drop down in there that you can order it that way. So order some coffee.
Hey, Dean Blandino here. And guess what? Football season is right around the corner. And to watch the best live broadcasts in high school sports in Northeast Oklahoma, download the Southern Sports Network app. And check them out on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. I just did. Give them a like. It's the best broadcast in high school sports, and not just that area, in the country. Check them out.
The College of Business and Technology at Northeastern State University is where education meets industry. Our in-demand undergraduate and graduate programs have real-world focus with practical workforce applications. Choose from degrees in accounting, marketing, supply chain management, information systems, healthcare administration, data analytics, and more. Lead with experience from Northeastern State University.
Welcome back into the treehouse here at Frank McNabb Field. Again, I'm Stephen Blackson. He's Cannon Poor. While we have a second, we'll take a look here on the Todd's Coffee Roastery pregame show at the weather, brought to you by Northeastern State University up in Tahlequah, right down the road here from Catoosa. It's finally, as you can see, the temperatures finally feel like football weather here, Cannon.
Feels like playoff football is just around the corner, because it is. It's a far cry from where we started a few weeks, or 9 or 10 weeks ago in Vian. The sun was beating down on us. Now it's pretty chilly. You can see all the big coats and blankets around, and it's really chilly. Good time for football.
Yeah, we were joking earlier in the season when we were doing broadcasts when it's ever going to start to feel like fall, and well, it waited until the last week of the season. Even the last time we were on the air in, I believe, Green Forest, it still felt pretty decent outside.
Yeah, it felt pretty warm, and now you're going to get down into the the 40s, maybe even the 30s by the time the game is over. But yeah, at this point, this is more of what you expect to be feeling for football, not the heat exhaustion and the cramps you have in August.
Yep. So, well, as you can see there, our weather brought to you by Northeastern State University, home of the Riverhawks. It'll be a great night for football weather here at Frank McNabb Field and all across Oklahoma and Arkansas, as both states are wrapping up conference competition tonight. And importantly, it's the season that comes after the regular season, the postseason right around the corner, as we'll take a quick look at the bracket here for the 4A in the state of Oklahoma. 16 teams will make it in. Top 4 in the 4 conferences of 4A. Lots of 4s there. I always thought 3 was the magic number, but I guess 4 is tonight. And the one that we want to keep an eye out for is that 4th place spot for District 3. That will be, if Catoosa wins tonight, Oologah loses, will be where the Indians will wind up, and we'll find out who they'll play, whether it'll be the Poto Pirates or if it'll be down near the state line with Texas against Broken Bow next week in the first round of the playoffs.
Yeah, the good news about the playoff picture going into this week, the 4A3 is all set but the 4th spot. And it's not a complicated one. If Oologah wins, they're in. They get to play in the playoffs next week. If Oologah loses to Bristow, who's the number 2 seed in the 4A3 right now, and Catoosa manages to win here tonight, Catoosa's in. Catoosa has to win and needs help, and Oologah controls their own destiny. So it's a very simple outlook tonight.
And it's also interesting to note with, yes, we do know who the 3 other teams are going to be from the 4A3, but it's going to be where they finish.
Yeah.
Grove, Bristow, and Wagner all with 1 conference loss this season in the conference, and one with the Grove Ridge Runners that came in shocking fashion. They were tied. A few seconds left in the 4th quarter against Wagner. Head coach at Grove tells quarterback run in the end zone, fall down for a safety because he'd rather have a 2-point loss than potentially a 6-point loss in overtime. Finds out it's only a 1-point loss in the state of Oklahoma in overtime. When that happens, that's the most you can technically lose by in terms of points. So we'll see how that all shakes out tonight, as all 3 teams have games. Like we said, the Bristow Pirates will be playing the Oologah Mustangs. That one will be the one we'll be keeping an eye on, but the other 2 schools also in competition, and it'll be interesting to see because it's going to have to come down to tiebreaker points just because it's a 3-way tie for the top.
Yeah, and it's really interesting if you look at the rest of the standings, because whether it's top or bottom, you're looking at some sort of madness finishing the season with Catoosa and Oologah at the bottom. You think Wagner has been the definition of consistency in the 4A for the past decade, you would almost. And now you've got Bristow and Grove sort of competing for that top spot, and Wagner can finish as high as 1st or as low as 3rd. I mean, all 3 of them can finish in any order depending on the tiebreakers. But 4A3, I mean, while it's technically set for the most part, not really set. We're not going to know a whole lot for another, I would say, 3 or 4 hours.
Yeah, it'll be interesting also because the conference they're paired up with, the 4A4, up until a few weeks ago, had that same sort of issue going on, but right now it's really a two-horse race for that conference championship between Poto and Broken Bow. And then also on the other side of that, tonight, the third place and the fourth place team in that conference, Fort Gibson Tigers and I believe the Hilldale Hornets over in Muskogee, are playing each other as well to see who gets the third and fourth place. It's kind of like a playoff before a playoff.
It's really kind of fun. It adds a whole nother round to it, basically. But, I mean, the Poto Broken Bow one's the big deal tonight because Catoosa could potentially be facing them with a win and some help. So you really want to keep an eye on that, too, if you're a Catoosa fan or an Oolaga fan tuning in to see what's going on over here.
Well, and I know when I was going through the permutations, I've called you a few times. I worked on them for Arkansas. I worked on them from Oklahoma. The ones for Oklahoma, much simpler just because 4 teams get in instead of the 5 and the 4A that get in. It's very complicated. Thankfully, they had some games last night that kind of straightened that picture out. But there was only one team coming into the night that is pretty much guaranteed their spot, and that's Tuttle. They won their conference, locked that one up earlier in this, I believe, last week in the season. So they don't really have a whole lot to worry about. But really, all across the board, there's playoff seeding up for grabs in all 4 conferences.
Yeah, which is a ton of fun, right? I mean, you don't. To me, as a neutral fan, you don't want the locked up conferences. 7 weeks in. You want to go to that last Friday. I don't know if you want to be in Catoosa's spot per se. They're sort of fighting for their life with some help, but it's kind of fun. The 1 through 4 is not totally decided yet in most of these conferences, and you have no idea who to prepare for until tonight.
Yeah, it could go either way. You could head down to Broken Bow. You could go back up 412 to Poto and down a little bit. It'll be interesting to see, as like we said, we'll keep getting score updates tonight from Oolaga and Bristow. Our own Jackson McAfee will be there on the scene to get us information. We'll keep an eye out on other scores as we can get them. But while we have a moment here on the Todd Coffee's Roastery pregame show, when we were in Green Forest, we talked about their conference in the 4A changing with Shiloh and Prairie Grove going up. There's actually some change coming to the 4A3 here next season as well. You're going to see the Bristol Pirates are actually going down to 3A, and I believe the Grove Ridge Runners going up to 5A with a couple of teams coming in could be advantageous for an up-and-coming Christian Hood Catoosa Indian team.
Yeah, Catoosa, I mean, with what we've seen these last few games we've been here, they have all of the potential to be a team that could challenge Wagner next season in the 4A3, and with the departure of Grove and Bristow, I mean, that's really going to open the door for them. Obviously those departures are not based on skill, they're based on other things like population, but Catoosa could be that 2nd or 3rd seed next season if they bring back the players we expect them to, and Christian Hood is building the program like we expect him to.
And, the 2 teams coming into this conference next year, as you see on the graphic, the Cushing Tigers and Tulsa McLean Titans. The Titans this year have not had a great season, but Cushing is, I believe, in the playoff hunt for 2021 in 4A already. So, in that one, it's kind of a net push. Grove goes away, you get Cushing. That might not necessarily be a win, but you can add a win definitely with McLean Titans coming into the conference next year, and that would be an opportunity to shoot up the standings.
Yeah, you're happy to trade off with that because they lost to Bristow and Grove this season. So, I mean, that's something that you're willing to do. And you expect to be above McLean, like we said, and then Cushing is going to be one where it's sort of maybe they're fighting for a top 4 seed. It's going to be fun to watch. I mean, conference realignment's always good, and I feel like that should be something consistently in high school football because it keeps competition fun.
Yeah, it keeps competition fun. It keeps it fresh. Get new blood into the league. Once one team runs away with the conference for a while, get them out of the league and try to have something new and come in there. So we'll take another break here on the Todd's Coffee Roastery pregame show. When we come back, we'll take a little deeper look at the stats for both the Cleveland Tigers and the Catoosa Indians after this.
We are computer science pros, chemists and lab technicians, health professionals, mathematicians, and science educators. We are the Greg Wadley College of Science and Health Professions at Northeastern State University. Choose from degrees in natural sciences, health and pre-health professions, mathematics and computer science, and more. Discover the possibilities at Northeastern State University.
At NWA Getaways Dream Vacations, our goal is to relieve our clients of the vacation planning stress, as well as ensure that they get the best value for their investment. We love making suggestions that take their vacations from what they request to a level beyond their dreams. Our perfect client is that busy professional who wants to relax with friends and family, but doesn't want the stress of planning for it. I'm Debbie Corwin with NWA Getaways Dream Vacations, where we make your dream vacation a reality.
Hi, Peyton Hillis here for Ozark Sports Supply and Casual Clothing. I've scored for the Hogs and for the NFL, but now my whole family has scored big finding this amazing store. Ozark Sportsman has everything a sportsman wants. The best firearm selection and gun safe choices anywhere in Northwest Arkansas. And a 15-lane indoor range and so much more. Ozark Outpost Clothing has all the hot boutique brands for women. And hey guys, our favorite brands also. Score big savings on top brands and follow me to Ozark Sports Supply and Casual Clothing.
Hello everyone, I'm Bob Stoops. I'd like to introduce you to Southern Sports Network as they will broadcast high school sports for Catoosa, Chickasaw, Bayan, Inola, and Green Forest. Download the SSN app and like them on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. And Boomer Sooner to everybody.
Welcome back here to Frank McNabb Field. Again, Stephen Blackson, Cannon Poor, for what might possibly be the last time here in the 2021 season of Football Friday Night, presented by Northeastern State University. While we have a chance here in the Todd's Coffee pregame show, let's take a look at the team stats for the Cleveland Tigers and the Catoosa Indians.
Yeah, if you're looking at stats for both teams, I mean, obviously for us, Catoosa is going to be the easier one to dissect. I mean, we've seen them. I think this is our fourth time now. Cleveland, we don't know a great deal about other than if you look at Cleveland's stats, I mean, they're, again, a pass-heavy offense. Now, granted, is some of that from playing behind, or is some of that from just them wanting to pass the ball so well? We're going to find out tonight and see what this team's made of.
Yeah, and with the secondary we've seen here for Catoosa, you have to think that that kind of favors the home team a little bit. They have, I would say, one of the better secondaries we've seen. Granted, yes, they've had some big blowout losses against, the likes of Wagner, Grove, and Bristow, but who hasn't this season except for those three when they play each other. But I think in terms of the second tier really of this conference, Catoosa's come to play on the back half of that defense.
Their secondary has been nothing short of impressive. I mean, like we said, Colin Treat has picked off multiple game-winning interceptions this season. And I think it's kind of a gift that they know Cleveland is going to want to come out throwing. I mean, we've seen them play Skiatook and we've seen them play Uliga this season, where it's just going to be a ground and pound, and you have to dare them to throw the ball. I mean, Catoosa can drop as many as they want now, knowing that this is going to be an offense they're facing, wanting to throw the ball effectively, and that can really work in the Indians' favor.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see if Colin Treat's not licking his lips tonight. He might be coming out of here with 4 or 5 interceptions if they keep throwing the football to him.
Yeah, that's another thing where you have to figure out your matchups. Are you going to put, because Colin Treat will be covering their best wide receiver. Let's make that clear. Does Cleveland's number 2, 3, or 4, are they capable of making a few catches when they're needed? And I would lean on the side of yes, because Colin Treat is the star of that secondary. And then there's a little bit of a drop off from there, but it'll be interesting to see how much they throw at Treat early, and if they back off of that if it doesn't start working.
Yeah, and we talk a lot about Colin Treat, but we should take a look at the other half of this equation. Shane Hamilton probably going to be our impact player tonight for the Cleveland Tigers. He'll have to have a big game if the Tigers want to stay in this one and keep the ball out of number 7 in Black's hands.
Yeah, quarterbacks always, you just want a game manager, really. And with both of these quarterbacks, you're going to get a little more than that. He's mobile enough, but his arm is really what's going to get it done for Cleveland. He is a dynamic thrower, like you saw on the stats. If he can keep those numbers up on average, Cleveland's going to have a good shot to stay in this game late and really be there to win it in the end, maybe.
Yeah, we'll have to keep an eye out for that. Well, we have a brief chance here before we get underway as the band's getting lines up, as well as the cheerleaders and some of the student section. Let's take a look at the standings. Granted, we know where everyone's going to finish basically.
So that's really what you have to look out for tonight.
And, I'm sure if you're a Catoosa fan, if you're Christian Hood, head coach of the Indians, you're definitely frustrated. You look at those standings, and you see Miami down there with the one conference win being against your team. Kind of frustrating here at the end of the season. If you get that win, this is all a moot point tonight.
Yeah, and if you think about it, the problem with Catoosa's schedule is it's either blowout losses to the top 3 teams or it's very close wins, and then there's that Miami result, which is just something you're going to look back on, and if you don't make the playoffs, is something that hopefully fuels you for next season. You have a better team than what showed up 2 weeks ago. Hopefully they can make that not matter, win tonight, and have Uliga lose. They're playing a Bristow team who's still fighting for the top spot in the 4A3, so that's going to be something. They're not just going to run out their second strings there and be content.
Yeah, and it'll be interesting. When we were here for the Uliga game, when our own Blake Hines was interviewing Christian Hood after the game, he said, they frustrate me, I frustrate them. I'm sure there was some frustration after that Miami loss. But while we have a moment, we can take a quick look at the starting lineups for both teams tonight. We've seen the Indians quite a few times, but we'll start with them tonight. The home offense out on the field, and it'll be behind engine number 9, Russell Duggar.
Yeah, you look at Russell Duggar, he's a quarterback that's just a game changer. Most of their wins in conference have come with him under center. He was obviously injured for a period, but he's back now. Mike Barnett, a dynamic running back who's really fun to watch. You keep an eye on him. And then you've got Colin Treat and Kason Titch out at your wide receiver positions, and DeAndre Hamilton. That is a triple threat where if Russell Duggar can find them early, it's going to be a problem for this Cleveland secondary.
Yeah, this offense, when it gets going, is a thing of beauty. Just sometimes they get in their own way, it feels like. But we'll take a look at the Cleveland defense that'll be going up against the high-powered offense. And as you see there, it looks like they're going to be doing a 4-3 tonight and try and limit that rushing attack that Catoosa tries to get going, but I don't necessarily might not be their bread and butter.
Yeah, I wouldn't be totally shocked if they wouldn't abandon the 4-3, but if they adjust at maybe halftime. Stopping that rushing attack is smart. Mike Barnett is a fantastic running back for Catoosa, but if you don't have enough people dropping into coverage, you're going to have a long night with the triple threat that they have on their receiving core. And then Mike Barnett, also a fantastic receiver out of the backfield.
Quickly, we'll take a look at the Cleveland offense tonight. And again, Shane Hamilton, number 10 there, the quarterback for the Tigers. It'll be interesting to see how the supporting cast can do tonight. In a pass-happy offense, have to have good receivers.
We've seen good pass rush from Catoosa, so you're going to look to the big guys up front on your offensive line to give Shane enough time to pass, and then your triple threat with Gabe Martinez, Jaden Aguilar, and Scott Kennedy at your receiver positions, or they're starting 4, including Chandler Taylor. So 4 wide receivers out in the formation, you can kind of guess that they're going to go to the air quickly and often, which should make for a fun viewing experience for everyone.
And lastly, we'll take a look at the home defense real fast. Of course, number 7, Colin Treat. Don't need to talk anymore about him. We know how amazing he is. But there's some really good cast of characters on this defensive side of the ball, like Kaysen Titch, for instance, there as a linebacker. He'll have his name called a few times tonight as well.
Yeah, I think what we've learned from coming to Catoosa so much is they have a lot of star two-way players. Kaysen Titch is one of many of them. Brock Ferguson, another solid one who's going to play on both sides of the ball. And most of their offense and defensive lines rotates out. So it's going to be an interesting thing to see how quickly they get tired.
Yeah, well, that's our starting lineups. We're about 5 minutes away from kickoff here in Catoosa for what will be the last time, I believe. So we will have more when we return here on the Southern Sports Network.
Today's game is brought to you in part by T-Lake Apparel Company, specializing in sport uniforms and accessories, custom orders to fit your needs and budget. From youth leagues to professional sports, call T-Lake at 580-977-6452. And by Champion Custom Jewelry. Trust a company that can provide quality at a great look to fit your budget. Trust Champion Custom Jewelry. Contact them at 580-977-6452 or on Facebook at Champion Custom Jewelry.
The College of Liberal Arts at Northeastern State University is innovative, engaging, life-changing, empowering. Choose from undergraduate and graduate degrees in the arts and fine arts, languages, criminal justice, social work, and more. Be inspired at Northeastern State University.
Hey, Dean Blandino here. And guess what? Football season is right around the corner. And to watch the best live broadcasts in high school sports in Northeast Oklahoma, download the Southern Sports Network app. And check them out on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. I just did. Give them a like. It's the best broadcast in high school sports, and not just that area, in the country. Check them out.
A tradition of educational excellence, more than a century in the making, continues in Broken Arrow. Here, supportive faculty, in-demand undergraduate and graduate degrees, and affordable tuition make Northeastern State University your transfer destination. Finish what you started.
My name's Todd Harden, and I am Todd's Coffee. The reason I do this to begin with is because I really want people to experience coffee. What I'm doing and what other roasters are doing as well is, we're trying to figure out what the bean is trying to tell us. My goal and my customer really is there's probably 2 out of 10 people that could taste the difference in one of my better roasts versus an average roast. If I can make those people happy, I'm making everybody happy. And so that's kind of my philosophy when it comes to roasting. You can just go to toddscoffee.com. You can get a whole bean, or I'll grind it for you. Either way, there'll be a drop down in there that you can order it that way. So order some coffee.
We are computer science pros, chemists and lab technicians, health professionals, mathematicians, and science educators. We are the Greg Wadley College of Science and Health Professions at Northeastern State University. Choose from degrees in natural sciences, health and pre-health professions, mathematics and computer science, and more. Discover the possibilities at Northeastern State University.
Hi, Peyton Hillis here for Ozark Sports Supply and Casual Clothing. I've scored for the Hogs and for the NFL, but now my whole family has scored big finding this amazing store. Ozark Sportsman has everything a sportsman wants. The best firearm selection and gun safe choices anywhere in Northwest Arkansas. And a 15-lane indoor range and so much more. Ozark Outpost Clothing has all the hot boutique brands for women. And hey guys, our favorite brands also. Score big savings on top brands and follow me to Ozark Sports Supply and Casual Clothing.
A tradition of educational excellence, more than a century in the making, continues in Broken Arrow. Here, supportive faculty, in-demand undergraduate and graduate degrees, and affordable tuition make Northeastern State University your transfer destination. Finish what you started. At Northeastern State University in Muskogee, we take care of our students so they can take care of others. Choose from a variety of healthcare degrees, including physician assistant studies, nursing, occupational therapy, speech-language pathology, and more. Answer the call at Northeastern State University.
Well, welcome back here as you see a beautiful shot of the casino here at Catoosa, the Hard Rock, and a beautiful Oklahoma sunset sending us off here tonight at Frank McNabb Field for the final Southern Football Friday night, presented by Northeastern State University. As our matchup will have the Cleveland Tigers and the Catoosa Indians. I'm Stephen Blackson. Alongside me, one and poor Cannon should be a tonight as Catoosa trying to fight for their playoff lives.
Yeah, it's really fun from both perspectives. If you're Cleveland, you get to play spoiler and try and end Catoosa's season here tonight. And if you're Catoosa, you're going to figure out what you're made of pretty quickly as you win and you get a little help and you're in the playoffs under first-year head coach Christian Hood.
Well, to start here at Frank McNabb Field, it looks like the Cleveland Indians will return tonight. And the Catoosa Indians in black will kick off.
And we get to see one of our favorite players from Catoosa early in Footy Yang, their kicker.
Footy Yang, number 28, a senior, trying to extend his senior year by one game here tonight.
He's done all he can. I think he's won them 2 games since we've been here. He's an incredible kicker and very solid for a high school level.
Yeah, won the game in Claremore basically, and definitely won the game against Skytook as we're underway here on a chilly night in Catoosa. As Cleveland will start with some good field position out past their own 25, and this will be the first chance we'll get to see number 10, Shane Hamilton, the senior quarterback.
Yeah, Shane Hamilton, like we saw in the pregame, his passing yards are nothing to look over too quickly. He's a pretty good pocket passer. He can beat you with his legs if he needs to, but it's going to be establishing the pass game early and often as they heavily rely on it to score most of their points.
Tigers going to operate from the shotgun, and not a good start there as Michael Bailey, the freshman, getting some reps. Will jump off sides, and we're not even 15 seconds into the ballgame.
Yeah, that's not a great start as you're coming in to try and play spoiler and upset, and you're already going backwards without having a snap on offense.
1st and 15 now after the penalty. And Tigers will elect to throw it on first down. And they're going the wrong way as they'll be backed up and just like that be second down and 15.
And, you know, those quick passes like that early and often are okay to try and get your quarterback's confidence going. But at some point you're going to have to go down the field, especially with that 5-yard penalty to start. And now you're quickly into a 2nd and 15 or 3rd and 15 situation.
Well, just hand off here. And 2nd and 15 makes it 3rd and 15 as nothing going for the Tigers on 2 plays thus far. That was Caden Reddy, also another senior for this Tiger team, playing in his final game tonight for the Red and White.
That's sort of a little extra emotion. I mean, if you're Catoosa, you think it might be your last game, and if you're Cleveland, you know it's your last game if you're a senior.
I'll leave it all out on the field here is down the field, complete. First down yardage, I believe. And that'll be enough, move the sticks and keep the Tigers rolling.
That was an incredible piece of awareness there from Shane Hamilton. You're going to see he's going to get the snap and just roll out to his weak side, wait for something to develop, and he's going to fire a nice bullet in there to Jaden Dunham. And Jaden's going to do the rest himself, pick up enough yardage with his legs, and Cleveland not going 3 and out to start.
A good start here for the Tigers as they'll keep it rolling. 1st and 10. And Shane Hamilton will call his own number. Fall forward for about a yard and get out across his own 40.
Yeah, you're going to see some similarities with Catoosa and Cleveland. Both of them have quarterbacks that are great pocket passers, but are more than capable of running the ball. And you'll see both quarterbacks calling the number here and there.
Second down and about 8. 2 minutes into the ball game here at Frank McNabb Field. And Tigers elect to hand it off here on 2nd and 8. Going the wrong way once again will be Caden Reddy. And it looks like he'll lose the 2 yards that Hamilton picked up for him on first down.
Yeah, I mean, at this level of high school football, you have to be able to establish both the pass and the run. They've done the pass pretty well early, and that's 2 consecutive runs really for no gain whatsoever. Caden Reddy just can't find anywhere to go. And now in 3rd and long, you're really in a passing situation.
Well, like we talked about on the Todd's Coffee Roastery pregame show, that is the bread and butter of this team, so definitely inside their wheelhouse.
Yeah, it won't faze them to have to go to the pass. That's where they like to live, really, and the statistics back that up.
And we'll have a timeout early here in the first quarter as Cleveland will take a moment to think things over. We will step away here on Football Friday Night, presented by Northeastern State University. More when we return.
Today's game is brought to you in part by Todd's Coffee Roastery, creating flavors for the most sophisticated palates to the everyday coffee drinker. Contact Todd's Coffee Roastery at toddscoffee.com and use promo code SSN25 to receive a 25% off discount on your order.
A tradition of educational excellence, more than a century in the making, continues in Broken Arrow. Here, supportive faculty, in-demand undergraduate and graduate degrees, and affordable tuition make Northeastern State University your transfer destination. Finish what you started.
Welcome back as we rejoin. Big sack there on 3rd down. Great play there by Brock Ferguson, the senior, bringing down Shane Hamilton.
Yeah, and that's just a case of great coverage downfield for this Catoosa secondary. I mean, you're going to see 4 wide receivers out, and you've got a running back blocking for you, but that secondary of Catoosa is not letting anything go as far as passing. And Brock Ferguson, as big and strong as he is, and looks,
there was a flag now.
Yeah, not going to matter. Didn't see the call there, but it looks like it's going to be a replay of, or they're going to stay 4th down.
Tackle, and it'll extend this drive a little bit here for the Tigers. 8:30 mark to go in the quarter.
It's a big moment right here. If it is 4th down, that's what the down indicator says.
High snap for Hamilton. Pressure comes, and he just falls to the ground. Nearest Indian there was Danny Rote, senior, 61 there. And Catoosa Indians will get straight. Great field position for their first offensive drive.
And I mean, I'm sitting here in my head a little bit confused as to why you're going for it on 4th down so early, especially near midfield and in your own territory. I mean, if you think about it, Cleveland has nothing to lose here right now. I mean, they're out of the playoffs mathematically, and you're playing for pride and maybe an upset here. So why not send your seniors out with a bang and just go for it? But, you know, if you're looking to win their last game, it might not be a great idea to go for it on 4th down that deep in your own territory. But we'll see how it shapes out the rest of the way.
Well, 1st down and 10. And who else is at quarterback? Not the normal starter, but number 7, Colin Treat, as we've talked about him in the pregame show, and rewards us on the first play of the game.
Yeah, Colin Treat is just a very dynamic player. You want to line him up in the
at the quarterback position, yeah.
At the quarterback position, he's just a very special player. He can play on defense. He's a great wide receiver, and he's a great quarterback if you need him.
Well, apologies at home if you couldn't hear the play-by-play here, as we were having some technical difficulties, as it'll be a 1st down on the field with enough rush there for the Catoosa Indians as they near closer to the red zone there. It looked like we had some technical difficulties with my headset, but we have it fixed and ready to go for the final Football Friday night here on the Southern Sports Network.
Hear you loud and clear now. Glad to have you back, Stephen. Interesting set so far. I mean, Russell Duggar, their normal starting quarterback, standing on the sideline, and they're going to roll with Case and Titch at the quarterback position.
Well, Titch has worked earlier in the season. Might be just a package thing. Is handoff on 1st down and 10, a pickup of a few. We'll bring up 2nd down and 8 here.
I mean, going through warm-ups, it didn't look like anything was wrong with Duggar, so we'll see how that progresses. But it looks like they are, like you said, running some packages for Titch, and he was a more than capable backup when Russell went down earlier this season. So,
and got him a conference win, I believe. Will just be a handoff for motion. Great play. I think a flag came into the back there, potentially, but great play there. Great play design for the Indians to get him down inside the 5, but I believe it'll all be for naught.
Yeah, it was a great look, and we're going to see maybe that was a holding call. Maybe that's why he had such room on the edge. But it looks like they're going to back him up here, and it will be on Catoosa. Interesting to see because, Case and Titch, because he's a starting wide receiver, he's got better speed than Russell Duggar, but he doesn't have the passing capabilities you would think that Russell does. So you're really trading off here and there.
Well, now it is 2nd down and a country mile here for the Indians. As Titch still in at quarterback. And he'll pull it here on 2nd down after the penalty. Looks like he'll get back the penalty yardage and get down near the Cleveland 20-yard line.
And that's what you gain with having Titch at quarterback. You get those option plays where the defense has to guess one way or the other, and more often than not, they're going to guess wrong because as long as you can keep them guessing, that's a very effective way to run your offense, and you don't even have to put the ball in the air.
Well, again, Catoosa running the same sort of play design. This time they'll let Colin Treat keep it himself, and will not be enough for the 1st down. And I would imagine this is definitely Footy Yang territory, but offense will stay on the field.
Yeah, once again, somewhat shocked. You're on the edge of Footy Yang territory if you want to kick, but I think 6 is where your head is.
And an encroachment on the Cleveland Tigers, I believe, will help out the cause. Make this a manageable 4th down and 1, 4th down in inches to potentially pick up a 1st down here.
And they've completely shaken up their lineup here. They've got Boomer Lovins in at quarterback now. I haven't seen him a whole lot this year.
Well, Boomer just going to keep it himself, follow his blockers, and he'll pick up a 1st down. Down inside the 10 will be 1st and goal for the Catoosa Indians after the encroachment call against Cleveland, and they're just going to go no huddle and leave Boomer in at quarterback, the freshman, getting some snaps.
And once again, just going to keep it himself.
Why not? It worked the first time, works the second time. Down inside the 5 go the Catoosa Indians as they're knocking on the door of the first points of this ball game.
This is interesting. I mean, don't know what's going through Coach Hood's head, but they're getting different looks, and it's hard to plan for. That's a 3rd straight run from Boomer.
And into the end zone, Boomer Lovins, the freshman, scores a touchdown in the last week of the season. And the Indians are doing what they need to do early to keep their chances alive for the postseason.
Yeah, it's a very interesting set we see there because we haven't seen Boomer all season. He was obviously the backup when Russell went down earlier in the season, but we didn't see him at all. He's a very powerful runner for a 9th grader, and they're going to go for 2, I think.
Well, unsuccessful 2-point attempt here for the Indians, but Boomer Lovins scores the touchdown here against Cleveland first. Makes this 6-0 in favor of the Indians, who are trying to keep on to the postseason. More Football Friday night when we return.
This broadcast of the Southern Sports Network is brought to you by Native Ink, providing custom products from athletic apparel, embroidery, and merchandising. Contact Native Ink at nativeinkpromos.com or at 918-693-1806.
The College of Business and Technology at Northeastern State University is where education meets industry. Our programs have real-world focus with practical workforce applications. Choose from degrees in accounting, information...
Trick plays incorporated, but would not be shocked if they just leave everything on the field here tonight because this is their playoff.
Yeah, this is all that is left for the Cleveland Tigers, and a timeout taken by the Tigers as well. They've blown through 2 of their timeouts here just in the first quarter alone. But back to your point about whether you want to play Broken Bow or if you want to play Podo. Podo only about 2 hours away from here, whereas Broken Bow, you got to go 3.5 hours down, basically to Texas.
You're in Texas at that point, yeah.
To play that game, and nobody likes to take that long of a bus ride on a school bus in high school. Definitely I didn't when I was in high school. I'm sure you didn't either, Cannon, but
no.
Some other scores to update you on while we have a pause in the action. Another good one, Tuttle, number 1 team in 4A right now, tied 7-7 with Blanchard, who's 10th in the state as well. They're doing battle, and it should be a good one as well. Tuttle, like we said in the pregame, the only team that's clinched the conference championship as they beat everybody in the league, and so they have a tiebreaker over everybody, even if they were to lose tonight.
You'd fully expect that game to get a little separation later on. I mean, it's still very early, but 7-7 is a good score so far.
Well, Shane Hamilton will pull it, and he'll get out across his own 25 for a pickup, about 2 on the play here.
Interesting to me that they've burned 2 timeouts so early. I mean, if you're going to burn a timeout, you want to do it in a situation where it's a crucial conversion, or maybe you want to draw up a trick play. But we've seen 2 timeouts and out of it just a couple run plays. So, not totally sure the thought behind that, but now 1 timeout for the remaining 4 minutes and change of this first quarter and the entire second quarter.
Well, 10 seconds left on the play clock here for the Tigers. Going to have to go fast. And it's Hamilton going to flush from the pocket, looks downfield, and that one through a couple of hands, and the last pair of hands was Colin Treat, as he just always seems to sort of find where that football is, and has had as many interceptions as he's had this season.
Yeah, he's not one you want to be throwing even in the remote direction of, and now it looks like we're going to see our first punt from Cleveland, and I thought they might go for it all night because of where they stand in the standings and just trying to have a little bit of fun, but they're going to punt it and let their defense try and get a lockdown stop here.
Yeah, they don't necessarily have anything to lose, like you said. Cleveland will not be in the postseason. This will be as far as they go this year in 2021, as that one will hit at the Cleveland 46 and roll to the other side of the field. And once again, the Catoosa Indians will take over a pretty solid field position, not as good as their last drive, but looking to extend their lead early on and maybe just hope and push all that energy onto Ooliga as they take on the Pirates.
Yeah, and the funny thing is that this offense has added another layer when you've got 3 viable quarterbacks in Boomer, in Kaysen, and in Russell. I mean, that's 3 different things you have to completely prepare for. Where Kaysen Titch is more of an option quarterback. You've got Boomer who can just steamroll people, and then Russell Duggar's the one that can beat you both ways. Russell Duggar's still on the sideline.
Well, first down and 10 here for the Indians, and a big collision at the hole there. It'll bring up second down and 10. I believe that was Legend Lore, number 6 there for the Indians on the rush, and he'll earn those 2 yards.
Yeah, the run game is another thing they want to try and establish. They're obviously a pass-first team, but if they can get Cleveland to bite on some of these play-action passes, they have the secondary sort of wide open to throw at their pleasure.
And that ball on the ground, fumble. Looks like the Tigers will have it. A little miscommunication there between Titch and Treat on the jet sweep, and that'll be Tiger football as they're going to try and answer the bell here. And we talked about in the pregame, the turnovers, both these teams turn over. Now they both have an equal baker's dozen on the season with 13 apiece. And this one comes at a crucial juncture here in this first quarter.
Yeah, in the season review, Coach Hood's going to have a lot of stuff that they can be proud of, but 13 turnovers so far is going to be something they want to clean up. That just looked like sort of a sweep or an option where, there was just some miscommunication. Maybe Titch tried to pull it out and couldn't.
Well, not much going there on first down as Reddy blown up in the backfield, as we're seeing great penetration from the Catoosa defensive line early on.
Yeah, Catoosa's defensive line has been another strength. I mean, the reason that their secondary has so many interceptions this season is their defensive line makes everything really uncomfortable. So
it'll be 2nd down and 11. As even when Cleveland gets a break, they kind of have tended to waste it here early on, going backwards on multiple plays.
I would expect to see them come out and start firing through the air at some point with, the deficit and really nothing to lose.
It'll be a handoff. A little bit of a trick play here, and Catoosa not going to be fooled by that. He's right there to blow that one up. Zach Ferguson, another senior on this Indian team, playing hard. As nothing going there for Gabe Martinez. Another senior. A lot of seniors on both sides of the ball here tonight.
Yeah, we're seeing some faces that we haven't seen all year for Catoosa. I mean, I think that's an effort from Coach Hood to get the seniors in and get a little playing time here. And I would assume Cleveland doing something of the same.
3rd and 9. Hamilton moving the pocket. Going to heave it downfield. And we'll see incomplete there on the far sideline. Trying to tightrope it there with the Tigers, and just like that, 4th down once again. And you'd imagine if they're deep for the first time this deep into Catoosa territory, that they're just going to have to go for it here.
Yeah, you would think, also based on the last punt we saw where it was, about a 25-yard punt. I mean, you're not gaining a whole lot with something like that, so there's no risk really at near midfield, sort of in Catoosa territory at this spot. No harm in just, throwing one up, trying to go for it.
4th down and 9. Minute 25 to go here in the first. As Hamilton going to see how far he can throw it. That one complete. Touchdown Cleveland. On the post route, Gabe Martinez busts open between the two safeties, and just like that, tie ball game at Frank McNabb Field.
Yeah, that one looked like something of busted coverage, something of maybe just a good effort by the receiver to get behind. You're going to see here Shane Hamilton going to take a serious drop and then throw it downfield. Got behind two secondary players for Catoosa, and a touchdown easy as you like.
I believe the senior for the Tigers running down Colin Treat, but great return from Colin Treat. We've talked about how he can be everywhere from offense, defense, and special teams, as you see. Just gets run down here at the very end, but had a lot of green grass in front of him.
And how about the effort from Hunter Sizemore of Cleveland to just run him down? I mean, you think at midfield he's gone. One man to beat. But Colin Treat, that's how electric he can be. He's a great defense, offense, and special teams player. Really a three-way player.
Well, again, we're going to see freshman Boomer Lovins in at quarterback, number 12. As it'll be 2nd and goal. As seems like this is just kind of the package that Catoosa's made here for Boomer. It's just this QB power.
Yeah, it's sort of we know he's going to run, so we dare you to stop it. Sort of just a wrecking ball type situation.
Oh, and it's a bad snap. Boomer will fall on top of it. And it'll be 3rd and goal from the the Cleveland 17. I'd imagine we'll see a quarterback higher up the depth chart here on this 3rd and goal.
Yeah, it looks like it's going to be Titch once again.
Yeah, it'll be Titch in at quarterback. Have to get about 18 or so yards, and once again Cleveland will jump offside, but no flag as ball wasn't snapped. 10 seconds or so left to go on the play clock for Catoosa.
And that'll be the end of this first quarter, I think. Yeah, they were just trying to draw him off, I think. This is incredible. I mean, what we've seen, throughout the season, special teams has not been the specialty of most of the schools we've been to, but Catoosa has it on lock. And I'm not totally sure why you go for 2 or do anything unless you absolutely have to when you have a kicker that's almost that automatic.
Yeah, I mean, that thing looked like it could have potentially been good for maybe 45, as that was a beautiful kick here at Frank McNabb Field. And importantly, puts the Indians back ahead. But to update you on a score elsewhere that Indian fans might want to keep an eye on, the Oologah Mustangs up early in the second, 6-0 over the Bristow Pirates. Again, the situation is as plain as this. Catoosa has to win tonight. Oologah has to lose as they want to keep their seasons alive.
Yeah, I mean, plain as day. Bristow has. I mean, they have something to play for too. They're not resting their starters. They're playing for the 1 in the 4A3. So you would expect that to be competitive down to the wire.
As we get back underway here at Frank McNabb Field, Hunter Sizemore will return for the Tigers. Had that touchdown-saving tackle on the last kickoff that we saw here on the field, and it actually turned out to be an important one, as instead of putting 6 points on the board, there's 3, and it's only a 3-point game as it's 9-6.
Yeah, I mean, it could really come back to be a huge play in the game if Sizemore stops that, and instead of 7, they put up 3. You'll have to see, but you like the effort from Sizemore in Cleveland so far. They're not hanging their heads. They're not giving up. And excited to see what they have dialed up for this drive and later in the game.
Last time out for the Tigers was a touchdown. Be another handoff to Reddy, and Reddy, best run he's had tonight, out past the first down marker, I believe, near the 30, still fighting. As get a little bit of a rugby scrum going there, and I'll move the sticks for the Tigers.
So that's sort of a situation where they're establishing the run game to the point of, you're going to get a loss of a few on a play here and there. You're going to get a gain for a few, but every once in a while, you'll open up the chance to get those 10, 15, 20-plus yard runs. And that's why you keep your run game established. It keeps the defense honest, and it gives you the opportunity to pass later in the game.
Fresh set of downs here for the Tigers. And Hamilton just going to keep him himself. Has a couple of linemen out in front of him trying to create a crease, and be another good rush on first down, as it'll be about a 2nd down and 2 after Hamilton picks up 8.
So you wonder how long they do keep.
Quick pitch out. Works well for the Tigers. 1st down and 10. As that one, I would assume, goes down as technically a pass, as Gabe Martinez will pick up yardage for a 1st down.
Yeah, it's sort of a touch pass. You see that all over the college and NFL ranks. And it's just a quick, simple way to get your quarterback a few yards technically. And then, if you can get a hole, it's going to be, 5, 10, 15-yard gain right there. Gabe Martinez is operating in several different ways here for the offense, and he's a viable threat for this team.
Well, again, 1st down and 10 as the Tigers still trying to answer the Footy Yang 40-yard field goal. And Hamilton will be met in the backfield right there, and that'll be the first real negative play that we've seen from the Tigers on this drive. I believe that was Ivan Hankins, senior, coming down from his linebacker position to lay the boom there, as you see him, number 25 in your program.
So the question now is, with how effective the run game has been on this drive for Cleveland, one bad play throws you off. Do you abandon it completely for the next 2 to try and get the 1st down, or do you stick with what's been working? Obviously, they're going to pass it.
Hamilton will look downfield. See, that'll be the defensive pass interference play, as that'll be enough, obviously, for a 1st down, as Hamilton trying to find his trusty target there in Gabe Martinez. And I believe that one actually might even be credited to Colin Treat, number 7. He was down there. It'll be interesting whether they put that on Cameron Neighbors or Colin Treat, as they were the 2 Indians nearby.
Yeah, chalk it up to either, really. I mean, the funny thing is we were talking in the pregame about, do they put their number 1 wide receiver on Colin Treat, and do you attack him? And both answers are a resounding yes. Gabe Martinez has been the number 1 for Cleveland so far, and obviously you throw it up there, and you're really looking to, get the touchdown, obviously, but if not, you're looking for contact to draw the flag, and that's what they did. I mean, if you can't get the touchdown, a pass interference is the next best thing.
Well, fresh set of downs again, as it's been a methodical drive here from Cleveland. Running a good amount of time off here, as they started basically at the start of the 2nd quarter. Already run 5 minutes or so off with this drive. They'll be ready on 1st and 10.
And the longer they can keep the different looks of the Catoosa offense on the sideline, the better for them. You have a chance to go down here and tie or take the lead, and the more you can take out of this game, the better. And on the flip side, Catoosa's got to start getting their offensive looks together, because if they're not going to get as many possessions as they thought, they're going to have to be more profitable with each offensive drive.
Well, Tigers will check the sideline for the play. Going to operate with a trips formation up at the top. It won't go that way as Hamilton just going to keep it himself. And he'll get out past the 15 down to about the 13, and that'll bring up a third down once more for the Tigers.
Yeah, Cleveland's really, with their running offense, is showing you a lot of different wide receiver makeups. I mean, you saw a formation there that looked like they could be throwing a screen with trips to the top of your screen. It's interesting because it's sort of eye candy, like bringing a player in motion, and it sort of distracts this Catoosa defense to an extent, and it opens up the run offense like we just saw.
Third down here. Just going to hand off to Reddy. A reverse, a pass coming out of this. Hamilton looking end zone. No flag, 10 out of 10 for play design, but 0 out of 10 for result. As the Cleveland Tigers got into their bag of tricks and here for the Cleveland Tigers.
So, I mean, now if you're in this situation, where is number 83 in white and maroon? You have to find him and stop him from getting the ball. Force these other receivers to beat you. And if they do, then more power to him. But he's bottom of your screen right now, if you're wondering.
Apologies there. A little technical difficulty. I believe we might have dropped the stream for a little bit. It wouldn't be Football Friday night, as I'll throw out to Martinez. Who else? Trying to set up a screen for him, but there'll be 3 or 4 Catoosa Indians there to bring him down. But wouldn't be a broadcast without some technical gremlins. We've just had those issues, seems like, all year. But it seems we might have gotten those resolved here for the final time tonight, as that'll be the last timeout that the Cleveland Tigers will take, and we'll take one with them. 2:22 to go in the half as the Tigers trail the Indians by 3, 9-6.
Today's game is brought to you in part by Todd's Coffee Roastery, creating flavors for the most sophisticated palates to the everyday coffee drinker. Contact Todd's Coffee Roastery at toddscoffee.com and use promo code SSN25 to receive a 25% off discount on your order.
A tradition of educational excellence, more than a century in the making, continues in Broken Arrow. Here, supportive faculty, in-demand undergraduate and graduate degrees, and affordable tuition make Northeastern State University your transfer destination. Finish what you started.
Welcome back to Frank McNabb Field. That's the last timeout for the Cleveland Tigers. They'll get this half, as it'll be a 2nd and 19. Not too hard of a situation, I guess, if you're a pass-first team, as Tigers will move Reddy out in formation. And Hamilton just going to get it off, is coming in hot from behind in pursuit was Ivan Hankins. But it'll be enough to move forward a little bit, but it'll still be a long third down here for the Tigers.
And you've got to find a second option in the receiving game, because that was just a dump off to your running back there. I mean, it seems like, okay, is Martinez open? No? Okay, then we're going to just dump it off or run the ball. And you're not much of a dynamic threat with only one receiver on your offensive side.
Well, big score update here, Cannon, just coming in. The Bristow Pirates now in the lead, 7-6 over the Oolaga Mustangs. Can't ask for a better storyline here on the final Friday of the regular season, as Hamilton taking a shot, and nearest guy there was Colin Treat on the defensive side there, number 7 in black for the Indians. But at the moment, if we just pause everything right now, the Indians would be in the postseason by basically 3 points.
Yeah, by basically a footy-yanked field goal, which that feels appropriate for the way their season's gone. I mean, he's been one of their MVPs. But still a long way to go second half in both of these games. And Bristow fighting for that 1 seed, and Oolaga fighting to just play next week in the playoffs.
A lot of football left. Another score to update you. The 4th place team in this league, whether it's Oolaga or Catoosa, will either play Broken Bow or Poto. And right now it's looking like it'll be the Pirates, as they're up 21-3 in the second. As Hamilton flushed here on 4th down, he's going to sidearm throw it. And looking for his trusty receiver, Gabe Martinez, as that one will be incomplete, and it'll be turnover on downs as there's an injured Tiger on the field.
And it looks like it's Martinez.
It looks like Martinez. He did take a shot there coming across on the formation. Hopefully nothing too serious for the senior. We will step away while they treat to Gabe Martinez. Our score here, Catoosa 9, Cleveland 6.
This broadcast of the Southern Sports Network is brought to you by Native Ink, providing custom products from athletic apparel, embroidery, and merchandising. Contact Native Ink at nativeinkpromos.com or at 918-693-1806.
The College of Business and Technology at Northeastern State University is where education meets industry. Our programs have real-world focus with practical workforce applications. Choose from degrees in accounting, information systems, healthcare administration.
Welcome back here to Frank McNabb Field as Gabe Martinez continues to get treated to some other scores to update you on. Fort Gibson Tigers are up 18-14 on the Hilldale Hornets over in the 4A4. The winner of that game will finish in third. Loser will finish fourth. Both are guaranteed a playoff berth, and that's important because the fourth-place team will either play Wagner, Bristow, or Grove, which at the moment, as I'm checking here, Grove is winning, Bristow is winning, and Wagner is winning. So that one will come down to tiebreaker points, which is always a complicated mathematical equation whenever you get down to it. The last week of the season, you have a three-way timeout.
So I'll ask you to put your hat on, Steven. If all three of them win, does the standings, do they stay the same or does it change at all?
Well, it depends on how much they win by. So the way it works, for those who are unfamiliar with tiebreaker points, is the way I've been told is you can get either 13-4 or 13 against, I believe. So if you win by 21 points, 24 points, as you see there, good to see Gabe Martinez, the senior, gets up under his own power, headed back to the Cleveland sideline. But if you win by 21 points, you still only get the 13. So it really will have to come down, I'd imagine, because you would think that these teams are all going to win by more than 13 just because of how good they've been playing this season. It really would probably come down to the head-to-head matchups and how much they won those games by.
So, I mean, I'm more familiar with the Arkansas playoff structure, but the 4A3 here, it sounds like it's in your best interest to run the score up. I mean, the larger margin of victory gets you more tiebreaker points and puts you in the playoffs at a higher seed.
Well, 1st and 10 on the field for the Indians as Duggar back in at quarterback, the normal QB1, and he'll find his trusty target, number 7, Colin Treat, as that'll be out across the 40 and making a manageable second down here.
So now if you're Catoosa, you got to you're in your 2-minute drill situation here. You want to put something up on the scoreboard. You'd love for it to be 6, but you just cannot turn it over.
And importantly, Catoosa will get the ball to start the second half with a minute 50 left.
And pending. So go ahead.
Try to get a 2-for-1 here if they can.
And pending the Martinez injury, I mean, that could really hurt the Cleveland offense.
Well, looks like a collision in the backfield first there from Brock Ferguson and Mike Barnett, a couple of teammates. But Cleveland will blow that play up. And it looks like it'll be about a 3rd down. No, actually, they're going to give them the 1st down, just enough yardage as the sticks will reset. And they'll give it on the end around to Colin Treat. Colin Treat to the second level. He's got one man to beat this time. They will not catch him. Touchdown, Catoosa Indians. The senior, Colin Treat, answers the bell and extends the lead for the home team.
And this is what makes him so special. I mean, you look at this play from our perspective, it's just sound football because it looks like an end around that's just going to result in a 10, 15-yard gain. You've got Mike Barnett downfield laying out one block, and that's all he needs because he's got speed that once he gets to the secondary, if you're not in front of him, you're going to be chasing him. Yeah. And Colin Treat, just a special player, and it's been a pleasure all season to watch him.
Well, the extra point is good from Footy Yang as they'll extend their lead by 7 in this ball game. It'll be 16-6 for the Catoosa Indians as they're doing the right thing there. As you see the man in black, number 7, Colin Treat, the senior, Mr. Do-It-All for this team, as he's not ready to end his career as an Indian.
No, and I think, with how well he's played all season on both sides of the ball, he deserves a shot at the playoffs. And the most magical thing about the high school playoff system, as you and I both know well, if you get in, anything can happen.
It's a one-game season each week. As the lead has been extended here at Frank McNabb Field, 16-6. Other scores to update you on Grove is up 8-6 over Miami in the second. And another one to update you on, Wagner up 18-0 over Skytook, so that would be the 13 playoff points or tiebreaker points that we were talking about. At the moment, Grove would have 2, and the Bristow score, if it's still 7-6, obviously would mean 1 point in favor of Bristow. So
Call T. Lake at 580-977-6452 and buy Champion Custom Jewelry. Trust a company that can provide quality at a great look to fit your budget. Trust Champion Custom Jewelry. Contact them at 580-977-6452 or on Facebook at Champion Custom Jewelry.
The College of Education at Northeastern State University prepares educators, mental health providers, and fitness or health professionals with undergraduate and graduate programs. Choose from degrees in elementary, secondary education, special education, health and human performance, psychology, and more. Be ready from day one at Northeastern State University.
My name's Todd Harden, and I am Todd's Coffee. The reason I do this to begin with is because I really want people to experience coffee. What I'm doing and what other roasters are doing as well is, we're trying to figure out what the bean is trying to tell us. My goal and my customer really is, there's probably 2 out of 10 people that could taste the difference in one of my better roasts versus an average roast. If I can make those people happy, I'm making everybody happy. And so that's kind of my philosophy when it comes to roasting. You can just go to toddscoffee.com. You can get a whole bean, or I'll grind it for you. Either way, there'll be a drop down in there that you can order it that way. So order some coffee.
welcome back here as you see the Hard Rock Casino there in the distance with some beautiful lights as we're now completely under darkness. We started the season in week 0 against Vian and Gravett, and that game, the sun didn't set until pretty much the very end, yeah. But now it goes pretty quickly here in the month of November. As at the moment, the Catoosa Indians are going to look to keep their season going another week in the month of November, as currently, with the way things stand here at Frank McNabb Field and how things are going in Oologah, at the half it's Bristow 7, Oologah 6. The slimmest of margins there. Definitely a lot of Catoosa fans are Bristow Pirate fans tonight, hoping they can extend that lead. And Oologah, well, they're hoping that the Cleveland Tigers can put some points on the board here as well. But really, looking at the way things are going right now, it looks safe to say that Poto, barring some miracle comeback, which we have seen able to happen, go into the halftime locker room up 28-3 over Broken Bow, probably will win that conference, and that'll be the team that either Oologah or, at the moment, the Catoosa Indians will face in the first round of the playoffs next week at 7:30.
Yeah, and you have to, the thing about this whole situation is that while it's fun for you and me to keep up with, you can bet that Coach Hood and his team don't know what's going on, and vice versa for Oologah. You have to just take care of your business, specifically for Oologah, because if you win, it doesn't matter. But, if you're Coach Hood and the guys, that could really trip you up mentally if you know that mathematically right now you're in the playoffs.
Yeah, and I imagine even if Coach Hood and the coaching staff is aware of what's going on in Oologah, I'm sure they're not going to tell their players.
Yeah, you can't put that in your players' minds. Specifically because you start overthinking things, or you get complacent or whatever. The problem with the Oologah score right now, if you're Catoosa, it is the slimmest of margins, and any score either way changes that thing completely. If it was a blowout, you'd probably feel a little bit more comfortable letting them know at halftime. But right now you're just business as usual, making your halftime adjustments and getting prepped for the second half against Cleveland.
Yeah, and there's not really many other games that are going on right now that are necessarily blowouts. Hilldale's up 21-18 over Fort Gibson in the second. That have playoff implications, I should clarify. Blanchard up 13-7 over the number 1 team in 4A Tuttle at the half. That one's a close game. Clinton up 14-0 over Bethany in the second quarter. That one decently close. Another touchdown there by Clinton could put that one away. But John Marshall, Tecumseh, they're 12-7 in the second quarter. There's some games that have playoff implications that's just too close to call.
Yeah, and I think that's how you're going to see it pretty much until the end of the game, unless one of the two teams separates themselves. I mean, the exciting part is that we really don't have a whole lot of an idea how the seeding in the 4A3 still works. I mean, like you said, it's a tiebreaker points, and Wagner at this point we think would be the one. I mean, the only thing we have a clear picture on right now is if the game stopped right now, that Catoosa's in and Ooliga is out. I mean, but that is subject to change. Knowing that your season's on the line, anything can happen. And really, you're just going to bring out all the stops in the second half. I expect it to be a really fun second half, both here and in Ooliga.
Well, while we have a chance, I believe our own Jackson McAfee sent us in some footage from the Bristow game. We'll take time. See Ooliga in the blue, Bristow in the white, and a great interception there keeps the Ooliga Mustangs out of the end zone. As, again, like we said, that game 7-6. That touchdown right there would put Ooliga out in front and keeps those points off the board. Catoosa fans probably rejoice. And
I love that from Jackson, just sitting his plays like that. It's a really interesting perspective because, I mean, we're just looking off a box score right now and keeping up through text messages and social media. That's a game-defining play right there, especially if it ends in a one-possession game in Bristow's favorite. I mean, that's incredible right there, just to pick off on the goal line. I mean, granted, it wasn't a throw that should have been made in the first place. It looked like it was in double coverage, but that's big right now, especially for Catoosa.
Yeah, that play really just based on what we've seen is what's keeping that finger on the cliff edge for the Catoosa Indians. Just to have a chance to play another week after going winless last year in a head coach's first season, a lot of firsts this year for the Catoosa Indian football team.
And by the slimmest of margins right now. I'm talking Gene Steratore note card measuring on fourth down, slimmest of margins right now.
I knew as a Cowboys fan you'd have to bring that up, didn't you?
I tried to get that one in there. But yeah, Catoosa right now, I don't know if you feel good where you're at. It's hard not being in control, and like we talked about the pregame, the Mima result a couple weeks ago, that makes everything not matter if you win that game. But you're doing what you can right now, and your offenses look pretty solid. You've got a three-quarterback look, and you finally get Russell Duggar some looks in the offense, and you've got a dynamic player in Colin Treat. Also going to matter what happens with Cleveland at halftime, and if they can get their star receiver back with Gabe Martinez. Don't know what his injury is. Don't want to speculate, just hope he's back soon, specifically because this is his last game at the high school level.
And he's just so great to watch on the field. I mean, he is a dynamic playmaker out there in his receiver position for the Tigers, and they're just a completely different team when he's not out there.
I mean, he's sort of I don't know, Tyreek Hill maybe, where they use him in so many different ways, whether it's the touch pass or whether it's the deep looks or the slot looks. I mean, he's a very versatile receiver, and that's what you need. And so we really just from a broadcast perspective specifically, you want to see him back on the field fighting for his team, especially now that they're down 10 points. You want to see him get a chance.
Yeah, and while we have a moment, a score that's probably near and dear to your heart might not care necessarily to Catoosa fans or Ooliga fans, anybody in Oklahoma, but just to update you on your alma mater, Cannon, up 35-0 at halftime. And the reason I bring that up, they're up 35-0 over Springdale Harbor, but the team that they're directly pitted against on the other side in the Central Division, Conway and Bryant doing battle right now. The Wampus Cats up 20-9. That would mean, with that result standing, based on how everything's shaken out, your Fayetteville Bulldogs would be the best team in the 7A at the moment going into the postseason.
And by property, the best team in the state, because the 7A is the highest classification over there. But I mean, long way to go. The funny thing is, Bryant recovered an onside kick and then immediately threw an interception, and Conway got it back. Wampus Cats, again, the weird thing, too, is Fayetteville beat Conway in the early part of the season, but since then, lights out. You've got a great quarterback in Fike at Fayetteville and Isaiah Satega. I believe that's how you say his name. A dynamic receiver that's headed to Arkansas now. Casey Dick has got his team playing with a passion right now. 35-0 against Harbor is very impressive, and I think they're just at halftime right now, so interesting to see what goes on in the second half in Fayetteville.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see what the second half is here. And while we have a moment, I just want to get your thoughts. We've been here in Catoosa 4 times, but every time we've been here, they have won, but it's been in some of the most unique ways I've ever seen a football game won. We've seen this team kind of grow up before our eyes with head coach Christian Hood. What would you say, Christian Hood's role has been this season in the games that we've been here?
I mean, the funny thing about Coach Hood is we heard his interview last week or a few weeks ago when Blake got him at the sideline. You've seen the team, like you said, grow before our eyes, and I think he's just been there, not really spectating, but just encouraging them. I mean, you can see the passion in which his team plays with, and it's only going to get better from here. I mean, you think about the conference realignment we talked about in the pregame next season. Catoosa could be the second or third best team in the 4A3. I mean, you've got Russell Duggar coming back, presumably. He's only a junior. And you've got a few offensive weapons that are coming back as well. I mean, Mike Barnett, their running back, is only a junior, and Legend Lore, a sophomore. And we saw Boomer Lovins a couple plays. He's a freshman. This team, on paper, combined with the conference realignment in the 4A3 next year, I don't know if they're Wagner level, but they're gonna be in games that they wouldn't have been in this year. The blowouts that you see, the 56-0s or the 49-13s or whatever, are gonna be closer. And I think Christian Hood and this offensive scheme that he's playing, he's playing to his strengths, and obviously it doesn't hurt when you have a kicker like Footy Yang who's gone after this year. But I like where Catoosa is going into next season. If indeed, if this is their last game of the season tonight, and it very well could be if Uluga comes back, you've got a lot to hang your hat on. You're not supposed to be here. You're not really supposed to be here right now. And we've seen every game we've been here, it is a tooth and nail competitive fight against teams that really would have whooped up on them a year ago.
Yeah, I mean, in the preseason, they were projected by a lot of the people who cover the state of Oklahoma to finish second to last in the 4A3, and this year they're ahead of schedule. I guess if you want to call it a rebuild. Last year they did win a season. The year before that they won 3 games. Be the best mark that they've had since I believe a 7-win season back in 2018. As Christian Hood's just come in and turned this program around really overnight.
Yeah, I mean, that's a good way to put it. Coach Hood he's instilled his culture. I mean, he's really gotten these players to buy in. It's not a, hey, 3 years from now we'll be bowl eligible like at the college level. It's what some coaches preach. It's we can be in the playoffs now, and they are. He's turned this program around for the better. I mean, me coming from an Arkansas background, I know very little about the high school level outside of the 6A in Oklahoma. But it's been really cool to be able to come in here to this 4A level, which if you're from Arkansas, it's basically the 5A level. And just really see this team grow before our eyes. I mean, the first game we were here, it really looked like it was going to be. I believe it was the Claremore game. There's the first one I saw. Battle of the Blue Whale. Our good friend Brady dubbed it. You saw a team that was a little bit jumbled, but they found a way to win. And then a few weeks you flash forward, and you're watching this team get absolutely boat raced at half against Uluga. They didn't give up. And they came back and they scored 21 unanswered points, capped off by, if you remember, a 2-point conversion that had you and I screaming. And it wasn't an intentional 2-point conversion. It was just a broken play that they found a way. And I think they found a way is a good way to just describe this season. Hasn't been perfect, hasn't been totally pretty, but they're finding ways to gut out some of these wins. And granted, we talked about the Mima. If that goes in your favor, this tonight doesn't matter.
That's just kind of been the MO of this team. They like to keep it interesting all the way through, and why would they not want to do it even at the very bitter end of the season? Pretty much all the games in the 4A that really have any implications for the postseason in at the half. We can run through a few of those for you. Elk City up 14-0 over Newcastle. That one important for those fans purely because the winner of that one will finish third. The loser will finish fourth in their conference. That would be the 4A1 for anybody who's interested. Hilldale actually has come back in this game in the second quarter of theirs from the score we have, up 28-18 over the Fort Gibson Tigers. That one important as that one, again, the third and the fourth seed for the 4A4. Some other scores to report. Cushing up 21-13 over Hera at the halftime. Hera near the bottom. They have a chance to make it into the postseason, I believe, with a win and some help elsewhere and some losses, as I think they sit in fifth as they try to pop in, I believe is the way that will work. Some other scores. Blanchard up 13-7 over the number 1 team in the 4A, Tuttle. That one important for them as well because they're in a seeding situation. They're going to go to the postseason, but just something to keep an eye on there. Poto up 28-3. That one really the biggest blowout of playoff contending teams going on right now. So it's kind of easy to say that Poto would win that district, host a playoff game, and host either the Catoosa Indians or the Uluga Mustangs next week. And that would mean the Broken Bow Savages would also host next week, but they would either get Wagner, Bristow, or Grove. Just depends on which one of those three-headed monsters shakes out in terms of basically who scored the fewest amount of points this season.
I got to tell you, that's a 1-2 gut punch right there because you're losing 28-3 at half, and you get Wagner, Bristow, or Grove. That's not a fun time to be hosting. I mean, you got Wagner, the definition of consistency in the 4A3. Bristow and Grove, two teams who are really on the up-and-coming right now in Oklahoma high school football. I don't want any part of any of those three. And then you look at, I mean, here's the thing, the 4A3, I mean, this is the one we've gotten to watch at the closest distance. I mean, we've seen a few lower classifications earlier this season. The thing about, like, Catoosa or an Ooliga, if you get them, so let's say, for the sake of argument, Poto's the one that wins. We can
put that one safely, I think.
25-point lead at halftime. We can comfortably say that. Ooliga is a team that runs first and runs only. I mean, that's a team that we saw a few weeks ago, and they do it well. I mean, this is not a team that's just getting, that's running a triple option because they're horrible. It's a team that's running several different offensive run schemes because they're good at it. And you saw them put 20 points up on Catoosa. And then on the flip side of that, Catoosa, who is a more pass-heavy offense with a bunch of two-way players and a lot of heart you're playing with. It's not a given that Poto comes out and wins and beats either of these teams. I mean, it's going to be a week of preparation, and whoever has the better grip on the other one, I mean, you're going to come out on top. But Catoosa and Ooliga are two teams that I would not want to see if I'm hosting either.
Yeah, and you mentioned some of the games we saw at lower classifications. Wanted to check in on the Vian Wolverines, where we started this journey back in August.
Again, another definition of consistency sort of team.
So they're 7-1 coming in tonight. Looks like they're probably going to improve to 8-1. They're up 48-0 at halftime over the Heavener Wolves. Definitely, like you said, the model of consistency in the 2A down in the River Valley, Arkansas River Valley, down by Salisaw. Having a great year once again. They're the standard of success. And another team to check in on, we did a game out there. The Chakota Wildcats actually up 25-6 as they're trying to find their third win on the season over the Locust Grove Pirates. That one probably close to halftime. That was a team we saw early on in the season. Played the Hugo Buffaloes. Coming into that game, we imagined on paper Chakota the better team, a playoff contender. Not the season I think any of the Chakota Wildcat fans had envisioned going forward for this year.
No, that was a team where you could feel it. I mean, the atmosphere felt, this is a year maybe we make a run at a 3A sort of title. And then, Hugo came in there and played well and beat him in, if I recall, overtime. I mean, granted, one thing I do remember about that game is the officiating was, we'll say less than par. Mm-hmm. But Hugo found a way to win, and I think they're doing pretty well this season, right? I think they're 5-6 win territory right now. They're looking at a playoff spot. Chakota's probably out, correct?
Yeah.
I think they would be out of the playoff run.
Yeah, it doesn't look like it would be the season for postseason berth for the Wildcats. As you see the Tigers coming back out onto the field here at Frank McNabb Field. As you see again the beautiful skyline of Catoosa, probably one of the few cities in the 4A of Oklahoma that actually have a skyline there. You see the Hard Rock Casino, but yeah, I'd imagine Hugo, with a new head coach this year, with Chris Gross, doing a great job. When we saw him, it was really it was very clear to see why the kids were inspired by Chris Gross. I believe you quoted and said you were ready to run through a brick wall.
I still am.
They're 6-3, 4-2 in conference play in 2A, so I imagine they're towards the pointy end of the standings. Yeah, they're in third. So they're looking forward to a postseason berth. But, Chakota, we talked about them. This will be the worst season they've had in, the last 7 years.
They're pretty consistent in that 3A, yeah.
So it was a year of frustration for them, and, they're probably ready to get into the off-season, get into the weight room this off-season, take a little frustration out on those weights.
Yeah. You mentioned earlier, we have the view of the casino there, Hard Rock. We've had some good backdrops. I mean, whether it's here or whether it's Chakota, you have the highway that leads to Dallas, Texas. Whether it's in Green Forest, and you have the Tyson plant in the background.
Second largest in the world.
Yeah, second largest distribution plant for Tyson in the world. Or you got Vihan, and it's just that beautiful backdrop of the highway, and they've got to me still the best meal that we've had in a venue with Wild Horse Mountain Barbecue. I mean, that's we've had some really good trips on this journey this season. And it ends in a nice setting, and hopefully Catoosa, for their sake, can make the playoffs here.
Yeah, it'll be interesting. It's been a journey for all the teams, that we've had on the broadcast. Really not been a bad game anywhere we've been, really. I mean, I guess the first week,
Vian,
that Vian team wins 30-0, and unfortunately, that kind of seemed to be at the time, we didn't know it, but at the time seemed to spell how the season was going to go for the Gravette Lions. We saw them a second time against the Green Forest Tigers, where they had a collapse in the second half, and hopefully Kelby Bohannon and the coaching staff there in Gravette can get the ship righted for next season, for 2022. He took over Kelby Bohannon took over a team, I believe, in the middle of the season in 2018. Didn't have very many players left on the team. Had quit, had gone, done whatever, and has been able to maybe at least right the ship in terms of getting kids to come out and play the game.
Yeah, I mean, granted, we're talking about realignment in the 4A over here. The 4A in Arkansas is getting realigned too. I mean, you think about over there, Shiloh is the Wagner of Arkansas 4A. And they're getting bumped up next year, I think, along with, is it Prairie Grove gets bumped up too?
The Prairie Grove, and at the moment, the way things are going, looks like Prairie Grove is up 35-6 over Elkins. They're going to be finishing second in the conference. The top two finishers in that 4A1 are going to be going up to 5A next year.
Which is good. I'm a fan of that promotion-relegation sort of system. I mean, granted, again, it's not based off of performance. It's more so about student population. But I think the last I checked, Shiloh was up just some insane amount, like 49-7 at half. Like that, they're playing competition that is, I mean, they're playing down, is really what it seems like. And the funny thing is, I think based on population, they're really playing up. But, like you said, I mean, Gravette and the several first, second-year head coaches over there in the 4A, going to get a good shot next year with two of the powerhouses moving up to 5A in Arkansas.
Yeah, it'll be really interesting. We have a couple minutes left here in the halftime intermission as the players are getting stretched and warmed up here at Frank McNabb Field. We'll step away and bring you the second half when we return.
Today's game is brought to you in part by T-Lake Apparel Company, specializing in sport uniforms and accessories, custom orders to fit your needs and budget. From youth leagues to professional sports, call T-Lake at 580-977-6452. And by Champion Custom Jewelry. Trust a company that can provide quality at a great look to fit your budget. Trust Champion Custom Jewelry. Contact them at 580-977-6452 or on Facebook at Champion Custom Jewelry.
The College of Education at Northeastern State University prepares educators, mental health providers, and fitness or health professionals with undergraduate and graduate programs. Choose from degrees in elementary, secondary education, special education, health and human performance, psychology, and more. Be ready from day one at Northeastern State University.
Well, welcome back here. As you see there, the Catoosa Indians getting ready to receive the opening kickoff of the second half here on the final Football Friday night of 2021, presented by the Northeastern State University Riverhawks. As I'm just now realizing this, that Catoosa actually has the same color scheme as Northeastern State.
Yeah, it's pretty convenient right there, sponsorship and then the team we've covered the most. I like the all black with the green trim and the white numbers looks good to me.
And you have to say on the other side,
Cleveland's too.
Cleveland looks really good. It is a good color matchup, color palette for both teams. But we're back underway at Frank McNabb Field, and the Indians will start at their own 35-yard line as Brandon Ball, the junior, got underneath that skied kick, and we're back underway, and we'll see if it'll be Russell Duggar, Kaysen Titch, or maybe even Boomer Lovins, the freshman at quarterback here to start the second half.
And it looks like it's going to be old Boomer. And that kickoff was a byproduct of saying, all right, Colin Treat's beaten us once on a kickoff. We're not going to let him do it again. You would expect this to just be a run package with Boomer. Oh, nope, we're going to motion him out.
And they're going to put Colin Treat at quarterback. Don't see this too often where you motion out your quarterback for a receiver. And Treat going to cut it back across the grain. He'll get out across the 40 and will fight to the 45. That one I would say is more Colin Treat trying to make something out of nothing than a good play design there, as the original play looked like was blown up from the start.
Yeah, but he's got the vision like that. You see where it's either going to be a 2-yard loss, it seems like, with some bad blocking, or you can cut it back, go against the grain, and pick up what looks like 9. So, I mean, Colin Treat really just great vision there.
Well, again, a really interesting formation here. Lots of eye candy. Don't see this at the next level, but Kason Titch at quarterback will keep it himself, and he'll be short of the first down. He'll get back to the line of scrimmage, and it'll be 3rd down and about 1 here.
Looks like a lot of confusion. We've had 2 different quarterbacks to start on 2 plays, and now we've got a 3rd quarterback checking in, Russell Duggar.
Yeah, you know, it might be a situation where you don't want to get too cute.
Yeah. Here's a situation, too. If you end up winning and Ugo loses, you don't want to give anything to Poto to study.
You'd imagine, I would imagine this is going to be a quick snap. Great acting job there from Mike Barnett, just standing there in the backfield, still looking at the sideline with his hands up. That'll be a first down on the field for the quarterback sneak. But you'd imagine when this team, if they are the ones that represent the 4A3 as the 4th representative, they're going to put Duggar in at quarterback the whole game, you'd imagine.
Yeah, this is, again, I think it's, possibly Kason Titch being a senior, wanting to get him a few snaps after he really was the one under center that played well when Duggar was out.
Well, Treat trying to get to the edge, already scored 1 touchdown on this play. He'll get a first down and a little bit more as he'll get downed at the Cleveland 36-yard line. Looks like they'll mark him there for the Indians, and just like that, Indians back into Tiger territory as we take another look at it here.
And he's just such a dynamic player that if he gets the ball in his hands, he can make anything happen. A couple good blocks from his fellow receivers, and then maybe a mistake on the cut there. He could have gone a little farther, but just an incredible receiver Colin Treat is.
And kudos to Chris Gutierrez there, the senior. One of the offensive linemen was down 10 yards down the field, trying to make a block on a Tiger. They talk about getting to the second level. That's what they mean is Duggar just going to fire out to Treat. 2 straight plays for Colin Treat, and he'll get another first down.
And see, the funny thing here is that some play design is because they're just better, and this is one of those things. Colin Treat is such a dynamic wide receiver. He just catches the ball, makes a man miss, and gets first down. And bad snap.
Bad snap, but still able to get it out. And I think there's a flag on the far side, as I believe Treat will go into the end zone. This more than likely won't stand, as imagine that's a holding out on the far sideline.
That's the early signal.
Yep, and there it is from the white hat, and all that work for naught, as it'll be a long first down now for the Indians.
And it seemed too good to be true. I think Cleveland saw the flag and maybe stopped playing a little bit because Colin Treat almost walked into the end zone there. And now you're off schedule, first in the country mile. This is really a make or break situation for both camps. I mean, if you're Cleveland, you've got to get a stop. And if you're Catoosa, one more score might put it out of reach. So this is probably the biggest drive of the game thus far.
A long first down here. Indians have to get down to the 15 of Cleveland and won't get it on that play. And is lucky to get a yard or so. Will be Ivan Hankins.
And you're not there right now, obviously, because this is not even college kicker territory, but you do have Footy Yang on the sideline to put 3 more points up on the board if you can get some yardage back.
Well, it looks like a line change for the receiver position group as a couple of Indians check in, and Aiden Taft and Colin Treat near side of your screen. And Duggar going to look that way. Will throw, finds Treat. He'll be down out of bounds at the 28 of Cleveland. That would make it a 45-yard field goal.
And that's just a connection we've watched all season. I mean, you've seen before our very eyes Russell Duggar to Colin Treat mature, and that's just another great example of that. Now it's 3rd and short. Or 3rd and very long. I was looking at the wrong sticks, but still a good pickup there.
It'll be 3rd down, 13. And Duggar going to look to the air again. Man, just a little bit too much on that ball as he tried to hit DeAndre Hamilton, a freshman, getting a couple snaps, and looks like they'll leave Footy Yang on the field or on the sideline. A 45-yarder might be a little bit too much as you see him there, number 28. Well, the legend of Footy Yang grows with every game here at Frank McNabb Field.
I really hope he does get a chance to play at the next level. He is a very talented kicker. I wonder if maybe they're just trying to draw him off.
Russell Duggar just about fell down trying to get a hard count, potentially. A stack to the either side of your screen. Duggar going to look to throw. Great ball for Colin Treat. Great catch. Touchdown, Catoosa. Great throw, great catch, great positioning from Colin Treat. The connection is alive and well here in Catoosa. Makes it 22-6, and we await a Footy Yang extra point. Break us down here.
Yeah, just really thought it was going to be a hard count, trying to get a few extra yards, and then he says, all right, we'll snap it. Colin Treat in the slot right there, catching the ball in the end zone and possibly putting this team, depending on other results, into the playoffs there.
And that one's up and through the uprights. It's 23-6 here at Frank McNabb Field as, once again, Colin Treat has another touchdown reception on the season. Comes in a big moment there. You see him, number 7, having a great game tonight. And there's Footy Yang as well. Two legends of this 2021 season that Catoosa fans and Catoosa City citizens will not forget their names in the halls of CHS.
Yeah, this is a team that, regardless of the playoff status, is going to be remembered for a while as the team that really turned, their fortune around. This has been a team that's really kind of hung out around the bottom of the standings for the last few years, and Christian Hood has recognized that this is a team full of talent, and is putting them in the best position to make the playoffs.
See there the drum line from the Indian Marching Band. Their senior night as well.
A lot of lasts here, unless you get a playoff game next week. And even then, this is the last time you're going to get to play on your home field if you're Catoosa.
Footy Yang set up to go again. This one kicked a mile in the air. Will hit at the 25-yard line on the bounce. Cleveland going to try and do something with it, and looks like the Tigers will start with pretty decent field position. Out at their own 32 or so, I believe.
The funny thing there was, with the kick style that Footy had right there, that's a live ball. You've got to get on that if you're Cleveland. So now it's the response time, and you can see it looks like Gabe Martinez is out there. Their star receiver, their do-it-all sort of guy. It's good to see him back after, I guess, just sort of a shake-up in the first half, but you've got to respond here if you're the Tigers.
Down multiple scores here in the third quarter as Hamilton just going to keep it himself. He'll be brought down by Barnett. As Barnett had a quiet night on the ground game, but had a decent game thus far on the defensive side of the game.
Yeah, it's funny because we haven't really talked much about his defensive his defensive play. He's really their RB1, but we haven't seen him much on the ground. He's a great defender, though. He plays in the secondary along with a couple other fellow offensive players. Yeah, just an incredible talent that he is. And he will come back next year and lead a Catoosa team that I'm sure will be ready to go.
2nd down and 8. 3 seconds on the play clock. Going to have to go fast. We'll just get it off as Hamilton pressured immediately. He'll be dropped in the backfield. Sacked there by Ivan Hankins, the senior. We'll drop him for a lot of yards.
And you just wonder if Gabe Martinez might be a decoy right now. We haven't seen him go for him in twice yet. But, going to roll out to his weak side, look for his receiving options. Nothing there. And Catoosa just getting great penetration on the front lines there, dropping him for a loss. And it's 3rd down and a country mile.
Well, it's hard for Shane Hamilton to even maybe see Gabe Martinez whenever Ivan Hankins is immediately in his face.
That's also a good point.
We'll have a score to update you on after this play. After this long 3rd down, 5 seconds to go on the play clock. And there'll be a timeout taken by the Cleveland Tigers. Score to update you. Catoosa fans, you might not want to hear this, but Oologah up 14-7 now in the 3rd quarter with 9 minutes to go in the 3rd quarter. Our score here, Catoosa up 23-6 as they're trying to take care of what they can here at Frank McNabb Field. We'll step away momentarily. 3rd down after this.
This broadcast of the Southern Sports Network is brought to you by Native Ink, providing custom products from athletic apparel, embroidery, and merchandising. Contact Native Ink at nativeinkpromos.com or at 918-693-1806.
The College of Business and Technology at Northeastern State University is where education meets industry. Our programs have real-world focus with practical workforce applications. Choose from degrees in accounting, information systems, healthcare administration.
Welcome back here for this third 19. As Cleveland's taking this one basically from Highway 412. And Hamilton going to work across the middle, has his trusty target, and Gabe Martinez, and Gabe will get close to the sticks, but actually that last effort, they might have gotten it.
Wow.
And they did. Wow. Pickup of 19 yards. Great awareness there by Gabe Martinez. That was what we were talking about early on at halftime. This Cleveland Tiger team, just a completely different football team when Gabe Martinez is on the field.
Yeah, it takes the pressure off of the other receivers, and it takes wanted pressure on Gabe Martinez. I mean, he wants the spotlight. He is a great receiver, and just showed it there.
We'll hand off for Reddy. Trying to get out to the edge, and he will, but barely. And he'll pick up about a yard on 1st and 10.
So, I mean, you get a touchdown here if you're Cleveland, and this game is far from over. It's a two-possession game. So this is really a momentum shifter for both teams. You'd think from here on out, unless it's just a mile of a fourth down, you would think it's four-down territory from here on out for the Tigers.
Another score to update here in the third quarter. Poto pretty much etching their name on the 4A4 championship at this point, up 35-3 over Broken Bow.
Yeah, Poto's just a cut above in that. That's a very impressive result for the Pirates.
Well, Reddy will get the ball here on 2nd down. He'll be near midfield there in the middle of that Catoosa Indian logo there. That'll bring up a 3rd down, and we'll call it about 4 or 5. Is really a situation they can go to the ground, they can go to the air. Playbook a little bit open here on 3rd down.
Yeah, and you would expect on 3rd down for 83 to be the target. I mean, just in these gotta-have-them situations, you want to have your most sure-handed receiver on the end of it, unless they decide that they can pick up these last 5 yards with a run.
Going to hand off to Reddy. He'll get across midfield, but that'll be about as far as he'll get. It'll be 4th down and about 3 here for the Tigers.
And that looks like a play design of a team that's content with getting 2 plays to get 5 yards. It does seem like they're going to keep the offense on the field. And at this point, you probably have to pass with it being a long 3.
You see there the defensive coordinator for Catoosa, Chase Frazier, barking in the defensive play call here for this crucial 4th down. As a stop here for the Indians really potentially could put this one away. And they will not pick up the 1st down. It'll be Catoosa Indian football at midfield on another great defensive stop by the Indians as they've come to play tonight.
And they really have this defensive, team. The defensive side of the ball, they've been very impressive. And now 23-6, you're over halfway in the third quarter, and you're at midfield. You get one more score, and you're pretty happy with your position here. All eyes turn down the road to Ooliga.
It'll be 1st down and 10 once more.
Catoosa, to their credit, doing all they can right now.
Yeah, this will be Boomer Lovins in at quarterback, and this is really the only play we've seen Boomer play, but he's not down yet. 1st down and a little more, as it looks like Boomer just fell on top of one of his linemen. No whistle ever came, and that's going to be a pickup of about 15 there for Lovins.
And I think they're going to go no huddle, sort of a spread or a sort of no huddle offense. I mean, he's big. He's especially big for a 9th grader, but they don't get him down there, and that's the key. Is they're going to go quick.
Hurdles looks like Josh Allen going over a couple of his offensive linemen there. He'll pick up a handful of yards.
You're looking at, if you're a Catoosa fan, you're looking at what is probably the future of your football team right here. As soon as he gets his arm developed to be able to pass at this level, he's going to be your quarterback, and there's an injured Tiger down, I believe.
It looks like there's an injury on the field. Some scores to update you on. Wagner and Skytook finally gone to the half. That one 21-0. Some others. Grove up 21-6 in the third. And like we mentioned, Bristow losing currently 14-7 to Ooliga. That one really the game you want to keep your eye on, as there's so much at stake there. Ooliga with a win goes into the postseason. Bristow with the win stays alive mathematically, I think, for that first position in the conference, or in the postseason lineup. But
they'd really have to run the score up at this point.
They'd have to run the score up. Skiatook has those 13 points in hand right now, being up 21-0 going into the halftime locker room over the Skiatook Bulldogs. So it'll be interesting to see. We'll keep an eye on that Bristow-Ooliga game for you. As first time we'll call Mike Barnett's name in a while. He'll get the call on 1st down and 10, as looks like the starters are in here for the Indians.
And now the thing is that you want to get down and score, but you also want to just start killing time if you're Catoosa. The longer that clock runs, the happier you are. Flag's going to come in, I think.
See what the white hat calls. A false start will back up the Indians 5 and make this a 3rd down and 9. But imagine now the play going to go to number 7, Colin Treat.
You would think. 3rd down and 9, you're probably going for it either way. Too close to punt. You're not quite in Footy Yanks territory unless you just want to throw him out there and give him a chance. But yeah, I'd expect Colin Treat to get one of these next 2 plays.
Will be a handoff for Barnett, and he'll get the penalty back. And near the 25-yard line of Cleveland will be 4th down. It looks like they're about a yard short of the marker.
That's almost fringe field goal territory. I think they're content to just go for it. They're going to have Russell Duggar come over and make sure there's no miscommunication in the play call. Maybe you hard count and call a timeout, or maybe you just go for it. Give it up to Colin Treat or one of your other playmakers.
Well, from here, it would be a 43-yard field goal. And they're going to go quick snap, and Duggar will get the 1st down easily there.
Ball's out.
Well, we'll see. He might have been down, but wait for the official call. Nothing yet.
Yeah, I think if the officials didn't think he was down and he fumbled, they were just, they're going to keep it with Catoosa.
And there's the signal for the 1st down as Duggar fights forward. We'll take another look. As the 2nd time they've gotten the Tigers on this play. Just where they get everybody looking at the sideline. Duggar gets under center and goes for it.
Yeah, and I think that was probably a good call by the referees, just letting that one blow dead instead of giving the fumble up. But
well, score update while we have a pause. Bristow has answered. It's 14-13, as the Pirates, I believe, are an extra point away potentially from tying that ball game back up at 14. Definitely what you want to hear if you're an Indian fan. And we'll keep you updated with that and other scores in the 4A3 and the 4A in general. As Duggar will send Treat in motion, handoff for Barnett. And he's going to put his foot in the ground, make a great cut down inside the 15 to about the 10. Mike Barnett showing up on the offensive side of the football here.
And that's one of the things that you admire so much about him, is because when he gets his chances, he really capitalizes. He's a disciplined runner, and he's a physical runner. But he waits for those holes to develop, and then he just goes. He's got flat-out speed when he needs it.
Well, 1st and 10 from the 11. The Indians can get another 1st down at the 1. And going around the outside, Ivan Hankins looking for the end zone. He'll score. Flag comes in at the back. For the moment, it will be a touchdown. I imagine they might have gotten Barnett with a hold there on the edge trying to make a play, and indeed they do, and we'll take Ivan Hankins' touchdown off the scoreboard.
And that was just that could have about wrapped this game up for all intents and purposes. But now, 10-yard penalty, you're going to have a chance to get a touchdown here, but it's going to be a much harder one. And I think you're going to have to resort to going back to the air now, is that the running game for Catoosa has been so effective in the second half. Now it's time to give Russell Duggar and company a chance to air it out. And you got Colin Treat here one-on-one on the bottom of your screen.
Bold choice here from Cleveland. We know what he can do. As he'll hand off again to Mike Barnett, and he'll get back to about the original 1st and 10 marker and make this a 2nd down, and they're going to give him actually a yard short, make it a 2nd down and 11 here for the Indians as we near 2 to go in the 3rd quarter.
So now you just really want to kill as much time as you can. You're pretty content you're going to score from here. You just want this clock to run.
Another handoff for Hankins. He scored last time out on this play. He'll be a yard short. And it'll be 1st and goal for the Indians on the Hankins end around.
And a brand new set of downs from the 1 yard line. You got to like the chances here, especially with how effective their run game's been in the second half.
We'll see what Christian Hood and Sal Guerrero, the offensive coordinator, draw up here as we near a minute and a half. They're just going to call Barnett's name. Duggar late going to try and come in and push, but be a goal line stand on 1st and goal.
That's not the worst thing in the world either if you're Catoosa. You get a couple chances to run some clock, and then then you can punch it in 3 or 4 or 2 or 3 more plays down the road.
Well, back into the ball game, Boomer Lovins, we know what sort of play design they have for him. Don't be surprised if you see a jump pass, but nothing there. Down at about the half-yard line. Brings up 3rd and goal.
2 more tries from here. You're not kicking a field goal from the half-yard line, I would think. And you've got a wrecking ball in Boomer Lovins as your quarterback right now.
I wouldn't be surprised to see potentially a pass out of this. Nope, they're just going to keep Boomer on the ground, and he'll fall into the end zone for his 2nd touchdown on the night. The freshman's got 2 on the evening, and that will extend the lead here for the Indians to 29-6. Extra point away from making this a 24-point ball game as we take another look at it, Cannon. Just Boomer Lovins lowering his shoulder pads and getting in the end zone.
That is nothing fancy. That is ground and pound football with a freshman who looks like he's about a senior size, and Footy Yang to put them up 30-6. And you don't want to say a game's over before it officially is, but now if you're a Catoosa fan, you're looking to Ulaga's game. You've done all you can here tonight, it seems.
You see there, Boomer, number 12, the freshman, has 2 touchdowns on the night. One of the best nights of his young career, as I'm sure Indian fans will get used to hearing his name over the next couple of years. Got 3 more years with Boomer, potentially maybe even at the quarterback position.
You're yelling Boomer's name on Friday, and you're yelling Boomer on Saturday if you're in Oklahoma here. So a good 1-2 punch for the Catoosa fans, but he's a little bit bigger than most 9th graders, I would think. That's why they're drawing up his packages. He's physical and he's fast.
Yeah, I can't imagine. I would assume his parents are OU fans.
I would think it's one
of safe guess.
1 of 2 in the state, I would think.
It'll be another kickoff for Footy Yang. I imagine his leg might be getting sore after the number of kickoffs he's had to do tonight. But he will do it, I imagine, gladly. And a booming kick down to the 5-yard line. Out across the 20 for the Tigers. As a flag will come in. 2 flags come in. As I imagine this will be probably on the Tigers and be backed up here to start their next possession.
Yeah, we've seen a couple different looks from Footy Yang. I mean, you've seen that little pooch punt that's almost an onside, and you've seen the booming kick. I mean, he can really beat you either way, and it's kind of a nice little trick to have in your back pocket.
You see there the student section for the Indians. Classmates out on the field. They're hoping, just like the rest of the Catoosa faithful, that there's one more game to play. Have to be big Bristow Pirates fans right now, as I believe there was no extra point made for the Pirates, so it is a 1-point Ulaga Mustang lead. Earlier it was a 1-point Bristow Pirate lead at 7-6, so that game going to come down to the bitter end. Here, this one starting to get a bit out of hand, as Tiger's going to run on 1st down.
It's a good point. I mean, at this point, you're going to be, the next play will more than likely be in the 4th quarter. A good chance for Catoosa to get some maybe seniors in that haven't seen a whole lot of the field this season. I mean, granted, with the depth being what it is, you've probably played everyone, but a good chance to maybe let some different players play different positions that they haven't gotten to look at this season.
2nd and 5. 10 seconds to go in the 3rd. I would imagine Tigers don't have to call a play, but they will. And Hamilton just going to keep it himself. Will cut it back. There's not many Indians there. Out across 35 near the 40. As that'll be the last play of the third quarter. Our score, Catoosa 30, Cleveland 6. We'll bring you the fourth quarter of football Friday night when we return.
This broadcast of the Southern Sports Network is brought to you by Native Ink, providing custom products from athletic apparel, embroidery, and merchandising. Contact Native Ink at nativeinkpromos.com or at 918-693-1806.
We are computer science pros, chemists and lab technicians, health professionals, mathematicians, and science educators. We are the Greg Wadley College of Science and Health Professions at Northeastern State University. Choose from degrees in natural sciences, health and pre-health professions, mathematics and computer science, and more. Discover the possibilities at Northeastern State University.
Welcome back to the fourth quarter. Final fourth quarter of football Friday night, presented by Northeastern State University. You see there Boomer Lovins standing on the sideline. Future quarterback there.
The future in Catoosa is bright.
Definitely is bright. As on the field, be first and 10, and a big hit. Car crash coming down the middle there. And Shane Hamilton will hold on to the football there for the Tigers.
So now you're sort of in the mode where it's just like, all right, you've got 12 minutes left in your season. You think that based on your events here, it's extended. And with the slimmest of margins just down the road in Uliga, you don't really know. So it's a very weird feeling if you're the Catoosa Indians, because you know you've done all you can now.
We have a score update, actually, just as you were talking about that. Bristow's up 19-14 over the Uliga Mustangs. Swinging back in favor of Catoosa as they have the commanding lead that they need here. Shane Hamilton in trouble. He'll be sacked once again. That one going to be Brock Ferguson, the senior, doing everything he can to extend their season. Play one more game as a Catoosa Indian, but at the moment, Catoosa in the postseason by 5 points.
This is a fun little live update game we've got on. It's a red zone almost. We got the statistics from other games. We got this one live. But Brock Ferguson, a band of seniors that are making sure Catoosa, as we have an injured. Oh, that's Shane Hamilton. That's their quarterback.
Yeah, Shane Hamilton coming up limping.
You hate to see that.
Hate to see that for Shane. His last game as a Cleveland Tiger. Hopefully nothing more than maybe just a stinger potentially.
But now that both these games, I presume, are in the fourth quarter, it's back and forth we go. Sort of, hold your breath situations for Uliga and for Catoosa. Uliga also, it's worth noting that they don't have to win to get in, but it doesn't look like Catoosa is going to lose, so for all intents and purposes, they do have to win.
Well, now into the game, the backup quarterback, Jace Reed. He's going to take off and run, and he'll be dropped in bounds after pickup of a couple. But they have to get out to their own 47-yard line to pick up a first down, and that's not quite enough yardage there, as it'll be fourth down here for the Tigers.
And the ball game really resting right here, and it doesn't look like they're even going to go for it.
It'll be fourth quarter action in Uliga. Just an update here from our own Jackson McAfee.
It's nice having reporters on the ground in different places. Jackson's done a great job with that ever since he started going out, and almost a block there.
That one will roll into Catoosa territory. Colin Treat wanted to do something with it, but I think the turf got him there.
Sort of a chance to, you're up 24. It's a good chance to take some risks, and probably best that he just falls on that. So Catoosa potentially going from a team that nobody gave a chance in the preseason to fourth spot in the playoffs in the 4A4, or 4A3, excuse me.
We're just ahead basically by, 2 minutes, it sounds like, of the Uliga game.
They're just starting the fourth quarter?
They're just starting the fourth quarter is what Jackson was telling me. Need to keep an eye on that as really this one pretty much wrapped up. 24-point game as Colin Treat will get the handoff in motion. He'll be out near midfield. And that'll be where second down takes place for the Catoosa Indians. That score, that made it 19-14, was a 60-yard touchdown run by the quarterback, I believe, Darian Dansby. But they could not get the 2-point conversion, which
that's big.
Yeah, they get the 2-point conversion. It's a touchdown and an extra point ball game. And the best you can do is try and take the lead with your own 2-point conversion if you're Oologah. But instead, it's a 5-point game there. It's a 24-point game here as Barnett will get the first down and into Tiger territory.
So, the real question, too, is that how much does this team know? You think maybe from the crowd right now, you can hear the crowd's a little alive for the Indians. Maybe they know something. You wouldn't expect anyone. We're sitting next to some coaches, not sure if they know. But, this is it's a situation where I don't think you want to know.
Yeah, I think you just want to keep playing the way you're playing. Play like it's your last game, I suppose. As there'll be a handoff on first down and 10 here for Legend Lore.
Just stand bounce.
Yep, the sophomore getting some run here as Barnett checked out of the game.
You would think Oologah needs to get, from what we saw from them, they are a run-only offense. If they don't, Bristol goes up 2 possessions, it could be over. So this next drive for Oologah is very important.
Checking back in at quarterback, Boomer Lovins. Got 2 touchdowns on the evening, looking to add a third if he wants it.
You've got Russell coming back next year, and then you got Boomer who'll be able to learn behind him, and he's been motioned out.
It'll be Colin Treat. Bad snap. That one going to roll at midfield, and Treat smartly will fall on it there.
There's no reason to try and pick that up and make anything out of it. You're up 3 touchdowns and a field goal. Just fall on it, live to fight another down, and keep that clock running.
It'll be a third down and 15 as the clock continues to roll near the 7.5-minute mark. Just the question is, it'll be the last 7 minutes of Catoosa's season, or will they be going to the postseason?
Really, from a neutral's perspective, it's very exciting for me because you've seen this team grow in front of your eyes. I can only imagine the Catoosa faithful and the friends and family of these players are on pins and needles right now. This is a chance that, frankly, I don't think any of them have seen. I'm not sure the last time Catoosa got in the playoffs without the COVID exemption.
Well, it'll be a timeout for the Indians as they'll think things over with 7:13 here on 3rd and 15. As we'll check here, see if we have any other updates. Broken Bow and Podo is now 42-9 in favor of the Pirates. That one pretty much, for all intents and purposes, over. Elk City up 21-0 on Newcastle in the third. Grove up 35-12 in the third over Miami. Wagner up 21-7 in the third over Skiatook. Hilldale and Fort Gibson in a good one right now. Fort Gibson's seesawed back in front 32-28 as that one for the 3rd and 4th place positioning in the 4A4. Other ones to update you on, Blanchard and Tuttle now tied at 13 apiece in the 4th. Cushing and Harrop is 28-13 in favor of Cushing. And Bethany and Clinton, and it's all Clinton right now, 28-0 in the 3rd quarter there as well.
So we have gotten a little bit of separation in some of these games where we thought, it was going to be close. And the only one that's really, of note is also the only one that's very close.
It'll be 3rd down and 15. Screen set up for Treat. Has a convoy in front of him. But will be brought down by a Tiger that can slip through there. I believe that was actually running back number 7, Caden Reddy. Able to slip through there. And out come the punt unit.
No reason to do anything other than punt here. Make Cleveland drive the length of the field and kill some clock rather than giving it to him at the 50.
Footy will get the snap, kicks it up. Good punt. Will hit at the Cleveland 15 and
take a roll.
That one's going to have eyes down inside the Cleveland 10-yard line. Great punt there from Footy Yang. Able to pin the Tiger offense back. As 6.5 minutes or so separate Catoosa from another victory potentially, and then the waiting game will begin.
Yeah, and I'm not sure who you named to be the MVP of this team, but Footy Yang's name, oddly enough, has got to be in contention. He's won 2 games for them. He's won 2 games for them. His punting skills are right there, and his kickoff skills, too. He can onside it with the best of them, and he's got the leg to just put it in the end zone. He is a valuable piece to have on your team.
Definitely a hot commodity that most teams, not even, let alone at the 4A level, but at the high school level in general, don't have.
See, most college teams don't have a good kicker.
And just a handoff here on 1st and 10. That'll maybe pick up a yard or so for the Cleveland Tigers, as it's been a frustrating game for the Tigers on a season that had some promise coming into it. Definitely not a year that this coaching staff want to remember, but definitely potential for motivation for next year.
Yeah, there's a lot you can build on. There's the offensive schemes that we've seen have been great. They've been able to run and pass with some effectiveness. You're losing a lot of your good playmakers on both sides of the ball next year, but I mean, there's something to build on for Cleveland, and that's the most important part.
Flag will come in. That one picked off. Potentially a house call here for the Indians. Nope, won't be, as Cameron Neighbors, another senior getting involved on senior night, will pick off Jace Reed. We'll check the marker.
It's in the area of holding, so
you might see Christian Hood just decline this penalty and get the ball immediately with a 1st and goal potentially. And that's a hold on Catoosa, defensive holding, as that'll wipe the interception right off the board.
Well, colored me shocked. I didn't really see a hold there either way, but first time we've seen defensive holding in a while.
That'll wipe a turnover off the board for the Indians, as we talked about it. Both these teams have had issues with turning the football over this season. That would have been 14 for Cleveland, and there's been a couple already tonight for the Indians. Some things that Catoosa will need to clean up if they make the postseason, if they want to have a chance against the Poto Pirates with a team of that level. As it'll just be a handoff for Reddy, and he'll get brought down in the backfield there by Joe Gaza. Will knock Reddy behind the line of scrimmage.
You see this defense, still is playing up, 30-6. Great penetration here from Gaza, just reading it and putting him down behind the chain, 2nd down and long.
2nd down after the holding penalty.
And if it's on track too, the waiting game is going to be a 2-3 minute waiting game.
Well, Reed going to go over the middle and trying to hit Gabe Martinez there. Nothing going on 2nd down.
Those will probably. These incompletions are good for. Catoosa. They're going to know almost right away after the game where they stand. Not totally sure how much time is left down the road in Uliga, but you'd figure they've got a few more minutes than we do on the clock.
It'll be 3rd down, 13. As Jace Reed coming into this game in relief of Shane Hamilton, looking over on the sideline there. Saw Hamilton helmet off on the bench. Hate to see that for the senior leader of this Cleveland Tigers team.
You'd think if he doesn't have his helmet, it might be done for the night.
And Jace Reed looking downfield will heave up a prayer. And that ball picked off by Joe Gaza. Makes a great play in the backfield and gets the interception, as the Indians pouring it on here in the 4th quarter. Trying to extend their lead to a 31-point lead with a touchdown and an extra point. We'll see if they attempt that with only 4 minutes or so left to go in the ball game. 4.5 or so left to go in the ball game. They might just be content just to run some clock here.
And the thing is, too, is that here's the thing. We don't know exactly what's going on in Uliga, but if this is indeed your last game, what a way to go out for Catoosa for the season. An impressive game on both sides against a team that maybe isn't on your level, but it's been impressive. And, if it is your last game, something to build on for the offseason, and if it's not, get a lot of good building blocks for the postseason.
Boomer Lovins in at quarterback. I'd imagine just going to be a steady dose of the run here.
No reason to go away from that. Just get this clock running, and then get to your phone and check the score.
Update from Jackson is 7:56 to go in the ball game. Still 19-14 in favor of the Bristow Pirates. So, yeah, just about 4-minute difference between these two ball games as Boomer Lovins going to take off, and he'll pick up enough yardage, I believe, to get the first down. Looks like he'll get around about the Cleveland 25-yard line with a strong run on second down.
So, yeah, it's sort of these games all start at the same time, but based on how the two teams play, I mean, this game has gone fairly fast for us. They won't end exactly at the same time, so it is something of a hold-on-to-your-breath situation. Everything's up at the 4A3 right now, who are the top 3 seeds in what order, and what 4th seed team gets into the playoffs.
Yeah, with a win potentially tonight, the clock hasn't hit triple zeros yet, but it's looking that way for the Indians. This would be a 4-6 season, 3 conference wins. You only are a game removed from potentially having a winning conference record, having a winning or at least a 500 record on the season. Definitely a season that I think a lot of the people who cover this sport, who cover this league and this classification, didn't expect to see out of Christian Hood and the Indians in his first year. And maybe even, to some extent, maybe even the fan base to a certain extent.
Yeah, I think even if you beat Mima a couple weeks ago, Christian Hood, you might not get mentioned for it, but you could be the coach of the year in the 4A. I mean, this is an incredible turnaround. The top 3 teams in the 4A3 we've seen compete year in and year out, specifically Wagner. But Catoosa and Christian Hood are building something special here, and it started with a very solid season. Whether that ends tonight or in the future, we don't know yet. They're chanting for one of their fan-favorite players.
Yeah, it sounds like they are chanting for, hard to tell. It sounds like they're chanting for Patrick. We'll need to check the roster there. Is Colin Treat in at quarterback. 3rd down on the field, and it'll be a 4th down at about the Cleveland 22-yard line.
Maybe 21 Baxton Field?
Baxton Field, potentially, a sophomore.
Not totally sure what they're chanting, but that's my best guess.
I think they want, it's we want Baxton, I believe, is what they are. I think that's him right there, number 21, Baxton. Baxton Field, the sophomore, but on the field, Footy Yang back out. As this one will be up. And no good. They're going to give him a rare miss from Footy Yang.
But holy cow, that thing had the leg to make it from 10 yards farther back.
I really hope, I know a lot of kickers at the next level go in on a walk-on basis, whether it's someone at like Arkansas, Cam Little, Rodrigo Blankenship at Georgia for a very long time was a walk-on at the University of Georgia for the Bulldogs. But I hope that Footy Yang can find a home at the second level if that's something he wants to pursue, because I think you'd be in agreement with me, Cannon, is he's got the leg to play at the collegiate level.
And here's the thing about your point, to pile onto that, some of these programs, like if you think about the Alabamas of the world, like specifically Alabama, one of the more infamous plays of the last decade is the kick six, because that was a game where they missed so many kickers because they don't prioritize it. Footy Yang, I'm not saying he may not be an SEC level kicker, and he may not even want to play like you said, but he is good enough to be a difference maker at Catoosa, and I think he's good enough to be a difference maker at the next level, regardless of where he goes. And if that's something he's interested in, I think he absolutely should try walking on. He could win a job somewhere.
We're ready. We'll get the ball. A minute left to go in the football game. Make sure you stick with us for the Todd's Coffee Roastery post-game report, as this one will be probably the most important one we've had all season. We will stay on the air until we get a final from Oologah and Bristow and try and figure out how the playoff bracket will look. So stick with us on that front, as we'll be having to probably do some math to figure out where Wagner, Bristow, and Grove will shake out.
Tune in for two men in their 20s trying to do math.
Two journalism majors trying to do math. That
should be good.
Well, Reddy going to the edge again. He'll get the first down. Won't mean a whole lot as we're under 10 seconds. Clock will stop at 8.5 as they move the sticks.
What a year for Catoosa. Regardless of how it ends, that's a statement win.
Yeah, well, that will be the ball game. Our final here in Catoosa. The Indians win 30-6 over the Cleveland Tigers. 4 wins in Christian Hood's first season, but will it be enough to make the postseason? We will keep an eye on the Oolaga-Bristow game. At the moment, what we have, it's still Bristow ahead 19-14 over the Oolaga Mustangs. We will keep you updated. We'll stay on the air until we have a final from Bristow and Oolaga. But here on the field, Catoosa's done what they've had to do, win the game. Now they have to be the biggest Bristow Pirate fans in the world, basically.
Yeah, and that's the hard part is, here and there they could have controlled their own destiny. It didn't happen to be so, and this team came out and said, okay, well, we'll do as much as we possibly can. And now we wait on the word from our good friend Jackson.
Well, Jackson actually just texted me 5 minutes to go in the ball game. Oogala is looking at a 4th and 10 at the Bristow 43 and are punting the ball. So not a lot of time left in that one. We'll take a quick commercial break, come back with the Todd's Coffee Roastery post-game show, and we'll wrap up the 4A postseason picture best we can when we return.
This broadcast of the Southern Sports Network is brought to you by Native Ink, providing custom products from athletic apparel, embroidery, and merchandising. Contact Native Ink at nativeinkpromos.com or at 918-693-1806.
The College of Business and Technology at Northeastern State University is where education meets industry. Our programs have real-world focus with practical workforce applications. Choose from degrees in accounting, information systems, healthcare administration.
Well, welcome back. You see Catoosa Indians headed into the locker room. Hopefully they're putting on our broadcast so they know what their fate is for next week. At the moment, way things stand, they would be the 4th representative from the 4A3, but still a lot of football left to be played up the road in Oolaga. We'll see what Jackson texts us in here.
This is the hard part, the hard waiting game, especially, not readily available. That's why we have, Jackson on the ground there in Oolaga, because that's a big score that we need. You need updates to consistently. But as it sits right now, you're booking your bus tickets to Poto next week. And that is subject to change. But if Bristow can kill that clock off after they get the ball back, they will have made good friends in the Catoosa Indians.
Yeah, I would imagine so. As this would be the final run also for the Bristow Pirates in the 4A, as we talked about at the very beginning during the pregame show. Bristow headed down to the 3A,
which again, it's not based solely off of competition-wise. But Bristow had a very good season in the 4A3.
I pity the 3A.
Yeah, I was going to say you really pray for the 3A at that next level. If Bristow is able to keep up that level of competition next year. And the hard part is, you're now waiting. A lot of the funny thing is, most of Arkansas has gone final. There weren't as many exciting games as there were here tonight. But yeah, you're in a waiting game. I think Coach Hood, talking to his team, as regardless of what happens, you're very proud of them. And you're in a waiting game. We're all in a waiting game now to try and figure it out. Sort of scrolling through some of the other scores, you're looking at a lot of blowouts in Arkansas specifically, and a lot of blowouts in Oklahoma too. We were a part of one. It was a statement into the season. Granted, not a great team you play in Cleveland. They'll be back next year better, but basing off the assumption this is your last game for a second, it's a great end of the season. And in the more realistic stance that Oolaga, fails to come back against Bristow, you got a lot to build on for next season.
Yeah, so some things. 3rd and 2 for Bristow. They're trying to ice the game from what we just got here from Jackson, but some other scores, other places in the 4A. It looks like the 4A1 going to go to Clinton as they're up 35-0 over Bethany in the 4th. That one seems to be going in favor of Clinton, so they'll host whoever finishes 4th in District 2, which could be Hera or Cushing, and at the moment Cushing up 28-13, so that could be your first real matchup that we can talk about. Bethany will host the 3rd place team in District 2, which could be any number of schools at the moment, whether it's Cushing, Blanchard, or Hera. But at the moment, this one here in Catoosa, the only game that we've gone final that we can to report. Wagner looks like they're going to win over Skiatook. They're up 27-14 in the 4th, which would be another great season for the Wagner Bulldogs. Is
just the definition of consistency, really.
Yeah, they look to keep things rolling there.
I mean, the real question is we're just waiting on the Oolga score, and as quickly as we can get them, we will pass them along. You go back to Arkansas. I mean, you look at the comparable 4A there. Shiloh wins 56-13. They'll be conference champions, and they're going to go to their conference champions for the 4th straight season, and they're going to be hosting throughout too. You mentioned earlier my alma mater, Fayetteville. They won 49-14. They're the 1 seed. They'll get a bye. And Bryant, who is the overall number 1 seed right now, is just got stopped on the goal line, 4th down. It's at Conway. So Conway up 23-17 late on in Bryant. But of course, the score that our viewers want and you and I want is hanging in the balance over there. It is a hard waiting situation.
Yeah, there's an entire community in Catoosa, 2 people in a press box that are eyes are on Jackson McAfee right now as we wait with bated breath on updates from that ball game. Some other ones that potentially could be over or decidingly over. Elk City has got a commanding 28-7 lead over Newcastle in the 4th quarter. That one would be for 3rd and 4th in the 4A1. I would imagine pretty safe to say is it's now 28-7 actually for Elk City, that they'll be punching their ticket as the 3rd seed, and Newcastle will be in 4th. And actually with Newcastle falling to 4th, that would be our first matchup that we know about for next week, as Tuttle will be hosting Newcastle in that one, as Tuttle won the 4A2, running away with it last week.
That's a team to look out for. Tuttle is maybe the team to beat in the 4A playoffs.
Well, you say that. So Tuttle right now, actually, from the scores that we have, is up 14-13 over Blanchard.
Oh, okay.
In a game where Blanchard needs as well, because they have some flexibility in where they can finish in their league. But until we get more scores, we'll take a momentary pause. Again, our final here was the Catoosa Indians victorious 30-6 on senior night. Question is, are they going to the postseason?
Today's game is brought to you in part by Todd's Coffee Roastery, creating flavors for the most sophisticated palates to the everyday coffee drinker. Contact Todd's Coffee Roastery at toddscoffee.com and use promo code SSN25 to receive a 25% off discount on your order.
A tradition of educational excellence, more than a century in the making, continues in Broken Arrow. Here, supportive faculty, in-demand undergraduate and graduate degrees, and affordable tuition make Northeastern State University your transfer destination. Finish what you started.
Well, welcome back here. You see the final score for the Catoosa Indians. We have an update for you. Catoosa fans, I think you're going to like to hear the news I'm about to say. Touchdown Bristow, 42-yard run by Charles Ware with 2:13 to go in the ball game. Point after attempt is good. Bristow up 26-14. Barring a miracle, the Catoosa Indians are playing next week in the postseason.
I'm not even a part of this program, and I'm very happy for them to hear that. I mean, obviously, you don't want to see a team like Ulica, have to go. They fought tooth and nail and are going to come up a little bit short, it seems like. But for Christian Hood and the Catoosa Indians and company, this is beyond what you expected. 4 wins in your first season. You're going to get a playoff appearance, it seems like. And you get into the playoffs, like you said earlier, 1-game season, anything can happen, but what an incredible season in Catoosa, and it's not over yet, it seems like. But I don't know if they know that down there.
Yeah, I don't think they know that. We might need to send our own Nick Bravo on the sideline camera. Go tell some people down there that it sounds like, at the moment, Catoosa will be going to the postseason as one of the 16 best teams in 4A, as I think Nick might be even trying to make his way over to the locker room, see if he can get any celebrations or anything like that.
He might lose his connection.
Yeah, might lose his connection, as it's a decent way away, but we'll need to let him know so he can potentially share the news with the rest of the football team. But they would be playing Poto, a state champion in recent history, a team that has played Shiloh the last couple of years, played Shiloh Christian in Arkansas within a touchdown or two, the 4A state champion in Arkansas, that is. So not going to be an easy task next week, but that doesn't matter. The season's extended 1 more week for these seniors. It's great to see that for everyone involved with this program. Back when you and Brady did the game, Battle of the Blue Whale, didn't really know what to expect out of this team.
You really didn't expect anything. I mean, that was the Battle of the Blue Whale. They hadn't won that game in almost 20 years. And, they come back and win that. I mean, it was a Footy-Yang field goal to win it. So, I mean, this team has made strides even in that this season. And then you think about the fact that they're a few minutes away. I mean, finally got Nick Bravo's feedback. But they're a few minutes away from going to the playoffs. I mean, granted, it's a team it's a tall task. Poto is no joke. If you're playing Shiloh close in the 4A ranks in Arkansas, I mean, you're doing something right. But, I mean, I think you and I would both agree that even the opportunity to get in the playoffs was something you would have taken in a heartbeat if you were a part of this Catoosa Indians team in the postseason. So, I mean, we're waiting for the final stamps on that one, but with a 2-possession lead, you would think it's all but done and dusted. And now we wait and see, and you wait for the playoff bracket to take shape. We do know that if it does hold, you're playing in Poto next week. And, Coach Hood and company trying to shock the world.
Yeah. Definitely, proving that they belong
amongst the ranks of the 4A teams,
which is quite impressive considering this team projected to finish second to last.
They're going to finish 4th.
Yeah, I'm going to finish halfway up.
And now, just waiting to make sure it goes final, but we have that's very good news if you're a Catoosa viewer.
Yeah, definitely great news if you're a Catoosa fan. We just simply wait the final score so we can definitely put that one to bed. But, it's you see there, that door in the back, that is the locker room. They're watching something, I imagine. There's a trophy case, lots of trophies in that case, but at the moment it's just awaiting a final confirmation, really, from Jackson McAfee on whether or not this team is going. But it certainly looks that way at the present moment.
At this point, to not.
It's when they scored with 2:13 to go, you have to imagine that is the final nail in that coffin. But some other scores, looks like Tuttle and Newcastle will be playing each other. We're awaiting to see what happens with Cushing and Blanchard. Just because Cushing is winning over Hara right now, 28-16. Blanchard down a point to Tuttle, so a lot of things could change in that ball game. So we'll keep an eye there. Some other ones that are iffy. Again, who's going to win the 4A3? It's hard to tell.
You can tell the 4 seeds, you just don't know the order for the top 3.
Yeah, the top 3 could be in any particular order that you like. as all three have lost to each other. You have a bit of a love triangle of football teams here in the 4A3.
I'd say Bristow's helping their case now with the opening up that lead against Uliga. But Wagner, I think at last check, was really blowing out their opponent, correct?
Yeah, Wagner is up 34-14, so that's 13. And that's a final. Wagner has beaten Skiatook, so they'll get another conference victory. I believe go 6-1 in league play. Grove's up big, 42-20 over Miami, which that would be also 13 points. But it'll be interesting to do the breakdown on math because let me find where did it go here? The Uliga score. So that's a 12-point ball game for Bristow. So if we go, we'll do some math on there because that's what the fans at home want. So
I would think, here's the thing to me, is that I'm not totally sure what the standings officially were today, but I think Wagner was on top coming into today.
Yes. I'd imagine they were on top because let's see. Let's look at Wagner first here. So Wagner in conference has a 13-point victory. More than 13. They crushed Cleveland.
More, yeah.
But 13 points over Catoosa, 13 over Miami, 13 over Uliga, 2 over Grove. So that's important to note there, and they'll get 13 tonight. So they have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 13-point games. Then you add
65 points.
65
plus 2.
67. So that's 67 for them. Then you look at Bristow, who have a 13 over Miami, 3-0 over Wagner, a loss to Grove, then 13 with Cleveland, 13 with Skiatook, 13 with Catoosa, and would be 12 tonight.
So you're 4 13-point wins plus 12. So you're at 64.
64, and then add 3 for your victory over Wagner.
67.
You're at 67, which
is what Wagner's at.
And then you go over to the Grove Ridge Runners, and they have a 13-point over Uliga, a 13-point over Catoosa, a 6-point over Bristow, a 13 over Skiatook, a 13 over Cleveland, and then tonight they'll have another 13 over Miami.
So that's 65 plus the 6. So that would put Grove in first by our math.
Based on how that works, I would imagine Grove would be first, and then
Bristow, because they're both 67, but Bristow beat Wagner
head to head. So I'd imagine that would be maybe how that would shake out.
That's the logical sense to me, but I don't, like I said, know much about the Oklahoma playoff system.
Well, we'll just say it's good.
We know those three are going, and we think that Catoosa is going.
But how bad do you not want to play Wagner if you're if they finish third in the District 3, they would be traveling to Broken Bow. How bad do you not want to play them on the road, or play them as a road team?
After Broken Bow got run out of the building against Potter tonight, I don't want to play Wagner. I wouldn't want to play Wagner, period. I mean, they're the definition of consistency, like I've said tonight in multiple broadcasts. I mean, I don't want to see them on my bracket at all. It's just like I don't want to see Bryan in Arkansas or Shiloh Christian. I mean, they are a team that I think we looked at it preseason in the book. What are they? They're responsible for, half the 4A state titles in the last 10 years?
Well, another update for you. Uliga not dead yet. 26-21 now with 52 seconds to go in the ballgame. Aiden Trimble got a 50-yard touchdown reception on a screen, and we await an onside kick for the Uliga Mustangs. And when we were doing the game between Uliga and Catoosa, we saw onside kick successful
for Catoosa, yeah.
For Uliga.
Or for Uliga?
Yeah, for Uliga.
Oh, yeah, you're right.
So we'll see how it goes.
And we'll wrap it up here, and you can see the beautiful view that we have over here. I maintain maybe one of the better views in all of high school football in the state of Oklahoma. It's very colorful and lit up. Hard Rock is, sort of a imposing figure on the skyline. You can see it coming in towards Tulsa. Well,
onside kick fails for the Uliga Mustangs, barring a crazy situation. It looks like Bristow will win that ball game 26-21, and that'll actually impact Bristow's playoff points. So bring it down
3.
Yeah, put him at 5. 26-21.
No, but I'm saying like that.
They
would
make
take
them
from
3 out of the
second
points.
to third, yeah. Because Wagner would get second, I believe, at that point.
Yes, because they would stay at 67.
Yeah. 60, yeah, and then okay, yeah.
Bristow would fall, so now Wagner back into the
hosting category.
The hosting category is they're playing a little Jonas Brothers Burning Up. It's fitting as we're burning up our math skills here on air. But no one has left Frank McNabb Field down there by the locker room as everyone waiting on bated breath. They really just need to turn on our broadcast, and they'll know that it looks like Catoosa is going on to the first round of the playoffs to take on the Poto Pirates. But we can kind of fill in other things. So we imagine Grove will be the district champion based on
I think they're
the points.
Too far out of points. I mean, they've got enough 13-point-plus wins.
And then based on and just official final score, Catoosa will be going to the playoffs. Bristow wins 26-21 on a nail-biter for us, for the fans, and for the players of Catoosa. Catoosa Indians Christian Hood in their first year as head coach, a year after they go winless, are into the postseason here in Oklahoma, and you can hear the celebration, I believe, from the students as you see they're outside the locker room. They know it. We know it. They'll be playing Poto next week at 7:30.
There it goes. Yeah, they kind of, you can kind of see the reaction now. I think word's getting around, whether it's by social media or friends at the game or even on our broadcast. Their season's extended by at least 7 days.
Which credit where credit is due for Christian Hood, the coaching staff, and the players of the Catoosa Indian football team, as that will extend their season a week for the seniors. Some other ones basically to add up into the bracket. So Bristow, we think, will come third. We think Wagner now will be second. Grove will win the conference on points, as it seems to be wrapped up here in the 4A3.
So first and second host, and third and fourth go on the road, correct?
Correct.
Okay. So Wagner, I mean, that's a big thing for, I mean, that results, it's big for Bristow, but it's bigger for Wagner because now you, by our count, get to stay home. And you would be hosting for a while, I think, until you play a higher seed. So, I mean, that's a chance for a team as consistent as it comes to be able to host at your home field until, well, the state championship. So that result not only helps Catoosa out by getting in the playoffs, but it helps Wagner being able to host. And now everyone draws their brackets up. It'll be out in the papers probably sometime tomorrow and online. Take your pick, I guess. The safe bet's a Wagner, but you get into the playoffs, it's a one-game season. Anything can happen.
Yeah, Nick Bravo, our sideline reporter, sent us a video here of the locker room. We'll post this to our social media later tonight of the locker room celebration there with the team as they find out the news.
They fully deserve that too. What they've been through in the last year with, I think you said winless last year in a COVID season, and then this season they've had some stuff to come over or to overcome with their starting quarterback going down for a chunk of games, but they remained and they weathered the storm, and they've really done a number on it because their season is going to stand.
And you see the team coming out. They know it. The fans know it. And what a fitting end to our coverage here on the Southern Sports Network as they come back out of the tunnel, or out of the locker room as playoff contenders. Winless a year ago.
You can see him celebrating too. His friends, family, and they deserve this. This program, this city deserves this. After what they've been through for the last 5-10 years, what Christian Hood has done is nothing short of a miracle, to be frank.
Yeah, to be frank, definitely a miracle. It's something that at the start of the season, all the teams in the conference, or all the teams in the 4A, they come into the year hoping for a postseason berth. And as the weeks tick down, only 16 remain. And one of those 16 will be the Catoosa Indians.
Yeah, this is a very cool feeling. I mean, obviously we're not a part of Catoosa. We didn't go here, but it's cool that we've gotten a chance to, through the season, develop these, these ideas and these emotions about this team, and realize that this is a team that could go from potentially being the sort of the bottom feeders of the 4A to contending for a playoff spot, and even better considering that Bristow and Grove are leaving next season.
Yeah, it could be just the beginning of something very special here for the Indians as they continue their quest.
And, here's the thing is, if I'm Poto, I don't want to see them next week. You just got a big win. We're not exactly sure what the margin was, but you just got a big win at home against a rival in Broken Bow. But the thing about it is that anything can happen here, and I don't want to see Catoosa in my bracket right now.
Yeah, definitely. And speaking of the bracket, we'll come back in here at Frank McNabb Field. I'm Stephen Blackson, Cannon Poor, alongside one last time here on Football Friday night. But based on the results that we've gotten, the math that we've done, I've come together with what the bracket will look like. So we'll start at the top. Clinton looks like they're going to win their district in the 4A1. They'll play Harrah, who finished fourth in the 4A2. Broken Bow will finish second in the 4A4, and we'll play the Bristow Pirates. And as the celebrations continue out at midfield, hopefully we can stay with that, as I believe our own Nick Bravo down there on the sideline. But Grove will win the 4A3. They'll play the Fort Gibson Tigers, fourth place finisher in the 4A4. That game was a great one. Not a final yet, but the score we have favors the Hilldale Hornets, 42-32, I believe. Cushing will finish second. Elk City will be on the road to play Cushing as they finish third in District 1. Tuttle, we knew coming into the night, won the 4A2. Newcastle, fourth in 4A1, will play there. In the district, second place finisher in District 3 will be the Wagner Bulldogs. They'll get the Hilldale Hornets at home next week. And again, our matchup with the Catoosa Indians, they're going to be traveling to face the 4A4 winner of the Poto Pirates. And lastly, Bethany will host a playoff game against Blanchard. All these games will be next Friday at 7:30 all across the state. 16 teams remain here in the Sooner State. For all of our crew here at the Southern Sports Network, from our camera operators to Chris Dodson, our owner, to Adam Naruto, our producer, Nick Bravo, Charlie Parsley, Blake Hines, our sideline reporter, Cannon, my main man, my wingman here, Brady as well. I'm Stephen Blackiston. Thank you for watching our journey over the 9 weeks, or the 11 weeks, I guess, the 2 weeks we had off, but the 11 weeks of coverage we had here across Oklahoma and Arkansas, bringing you these great games and being a part of your communities and letting us come into your homes and tell your kids' stories. We'll leave you with the celebrations on the field. Catoosa is going on to the next round to face off against the Poto Pirates. That'll do it for us here on Football Friday night.